official World Cup coverage on SJ Radio.
We're going in France and Belgium for your first semi-final of the week. Yes, France and Belgium play themselves today in about 7 minutes' time. Then the winners of those rounds will go into the grand final on Sunday for the World Cup final. The loser of France and Belgium will play the loser tomorrow of England and Croatia, and they will play off in the third part. Is that all understood? Yeah, because that makes no sense whatsoever to me. No, I'm joking, it's good. So France and Belgium now at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Croatia and England, the winners of France and Belgium will play on Sunday. The winners of Croatia and England will play on Sunday for the final. The losers of France and Belgium play the losers of Croatia and England on Saturday for third place. All good? All understood? Cool. So let's get straight to it then. If you were if you were France to win, if you reckon France will beat Croatia, beat Belgium within the 90 minutes is 8-5. Would it be a draw at the end of the 90 minutes and go to extra time? Is 21 to 10. For Belgium to win is 2-1. So all the fans are out, the teams are out. Let's just cross over now to 5 for the national anthems and the game. Who will be facing Croatia or England in the final on Sunday at 4 o'clock? Let's find out.
The World Cup. This is SJ.
A place in a stadium, and by the way, this is watching some of the most brilliant players in the world, and realising most people in the world actually want to be sitting where you're sitting just now. So it's a nice kind of feeling, and I don't think they're going to be let down anyone who's watching, listening, because there's so much skill here, and they're attack-minded teams as well. It should be a cracker. I don't know if it's going to start off brilliantly. I really don't. But I think it could build into something extra special.
BBC Radio 5 Live, the semi-finals of the 2018 World Cup, live in Russia. And first of all, the national anthem will be that of France. La Marseillaise, as the French players link arms. So many stories between these two nations. Now the Belgium anthem, La Brabançon, written by the French actor Alexandre Deschet, who in 1830 travelled from Paris to help fight Belgium for their independence. Well, the stories are intertwined, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, when you consider that there is such a large expat community in Brussels, the capital of Belgium. There are thousands of Belgians who live in France. You've got Thierry Henry, who's on the coaching staff of Belgium, the record goal scorer for France, who helped win France a World Cup alongside their coach Didier Deschamps, who says it's bizarre to see him in the opposite dugout. And then Pat Nevin, you've got the various matchups of these two teams who line up as follows. Lloris in goal, a back four of Pavard, Varane, Umtiti and Hernandez. They've made the one change, Matuidi coming in for Tolisso. Matuidi was suspended for the quarter-final. Kante and Pogba, Matuidi, Mbappe and Griezmann behind Olivier Giroud, who's just shy of 7 hours without an international goal since he scored against Ireland in late May. Belgium have made one change. It is enforced because Meunier is suspended. The player to come in to replace him is Dembele. We wait to see where Dembele is going to play. The Belgian media have told us that Dembele will actually play as a left wing back and Chadli will switch to the right, which would mean Courtois is in goal, Alderweireld, Kompany and Vertonghen would be the back three. Your wing backs, as I've mentioned, of Dembele and Chadli, Witsel and Fellaini in the centre of midfield, and then Hazard, De Bruyne supporting Lukaku. The referee is Andreas Cunha from Uruguay, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and one of the big things about you get to games at this stage in World Cups, quite often you say, oh, I wish so-and-so was playing because there's been an injury or someone suspended of the top players. No, not that problem tonight. Everybody but everybody that you want to be is just about out there. And before the game there was that lovely moment where Deschamps and Thierry Henry did actually go over, and I think it was Thierry that went over and gave Deschamps a big hug. And that happens in international football now and again. You remember Terry Butcher, did he not work for somebody else? It wasn't necessarily England. So it does happen now and again.
And England have a forwards coach in Alan Russell, who'll be on the bench alongside Gareth Southgate. Tomorrow it's all about England-Croatia, the second semi-final. Our coverage from inside the Luzhniki will start at 4 o'clock on BBC Radio 5 Live. But this is the first semi-final, and whoever wins, whether it be France or Belgium, will start Sunday's final as the overwhelming favourites, because the quality in these two teams is immense, and we could be in for a treat. Belgium are in their all red. France, the two-tone colour of blue, predominantly navy with a little bit of royal down the sleeves and the shoulders, and it'll be France to get this game underway. Here we are live in St. Petersburg. It's BBC Radio 5 Live. France against Belgium. And Griezmann gets the first semi-final. And we're underway. Varane out to Pavard on this near side, and Mbappe straight away leaves Vertonghen, and he darts away down the right touchline. Dembele's trying to go with him, crosses into the penalty area, and Griezmann was trying to get there. That would have been a breathtaking start.
I think that's the reason why people realise that you cannot play 3 against this French attack as well, because pure pace, there's no one in that Belgian defence that's going to get close to Mbappe. First time on the ball, lightning quick, away, creates a chance.
It was a taxi for Vertonghen. Just dropped his shoulder and boom, he was away, and Dembele had to come across. But at the moment, the way that they're lining up, although Christophe Terreur did say this, didn't he, in the build-up with Kelly, because against Brazil, when they were out of possession, they reverted to a back four. So they're out of possession at the moment, and you've got Vertonghen as a left back, Kompany and Alderweireld, and Chadli filling in as a right wing back. Let's see what happens to that Belgian formation when they're in possession. But at the moment, in these opening 60 seconds or so, they can't. Here is Varane. France playing from left to right. BBC Radio 5 Live, and here is Kante in the centre circle. Here on Krestovsky Island in the beautiful city of St. Petersburg, and Mbappe just waits. Hazard's come across with him this time. Dembele was also there. France being patient. Kante outside the centre circle. Umtiti. And at the moment you've got De Bruyne playing alongside Lukaku. Hazard now will come forward for Belgium to try and put pressure on Varane. And France are midway through their own half, and it's chipped forward to Pavard, the right back.
Yeah, just the way they're playing it, it's kind of I would have been surprised if it had been a straight back three, because it was too dangerous to do that, and it's much more like a four that he's playing just now, which strikes me as quite sensible.
De Bruyne, momentarily Belgium had it there, that it was given away and picked up by Kante. I expect to have his name mentioned quite a lot this evening. Chipped out towards that far side. Hernandez short of the halfway line. Kante then a little touch to Umtiti and just strokes it across the back to Varane. Varane will run forward. The red shirts of Belgium retreat on the halfway line. Varane stands still. Can't pass the ball out towards Pavard, so they're forced to go back. And almost at walking pace, Belgium are quite happy to see France have the ball in the midfield as Kante drops between the two central defenders, out towards Pavard, cut out though by Vertonghen. Now Belgium are in possession. Vertonghen over the halfway line towards Hazard. Hazard in field. Vertonghen's continued his run. De Bruyne. Chadley's over on that right-hand side. Here he is, right corner of the penalty area. Low ball, stopped by Hernandez and out of play. It goes for a throw.
First time the ball actually gets to Kevin De Bruyne's feet, and he looks comfortable on it. He's going to play the right ball. He did so. Gets out to Chadley. Just assume it wasn't a good enough ball in there. Should have been much better. Lukaku's a bit furious about that, understandably.
So Dembele is in possession in the centre circle. Chadley has stayed quite high up the pitch on that right-hand side. Hazard to De Bruyne. De Bruyne now will pass the ball to the West Bromwich Albion player. It's a first-time cross from the right, headed away by Umtiti. Only as far as De Bruyne. Whips in the cross and across. Quickly back up on his feet, away from the corner flag, back to Dembele. Dembele now 30 yards from goal, in field. Witsel, once again Chadley has a little bit of room. They pass the ball to Chadley, sees an area, darts into it, edge of the penalty area, goes into the box alone. Umtiti will come across, and Umtiti will clear out of play for a Belgian throw.
Fancies it tonight, Chadley. I tell you what, he starts off at right back, then he's 3 times now got the ball on the right wing position. First couple of times not good crosses, and seconds later, however, the ball in by Kevin De Bruyne from the right hand side was world class. If you were any team at all, you just get that guy on the ball every time you can.
Here is Chadley on that right side, that far side as we look. Witsel now to Company. So in possession, Pat, it looks like Hazard's on this near side, the left, and Chadley.
And just Chadley pushes a little bit further on, and the rest of the team moves over, and it's a back three. Lose it. Chadley comes back, sits in it right back, and you've got a 4-2-3-1 in front of him. And by the way, Fellaini playing much further forward than he did in the last game. So I think they're trying to get to wide areas, get it into the back post, and expecting Fellaini to go in there and help Lukaku. So a couple of interesting things from the Belgians. You're getting from France exactly what you expect from France, but once again with the Belgians, little tweaks here and there.
So there is that flexibility from Roberto Martinez, who, remember, has only lost 1 game since he took charge of the Belgian national side, and that was his first game against Spain. Vertonghen over the halfway line. Hazard now runs forward. Hazard, little shimmy there as he then goes on the outside, left-hand side, delivers the cross. Umtiti turns the ball behind as Lukaku lurked behind for a corner kick. 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live, 5 minutes played.
It's only 5 minutes played, but you're already seeing that the French are not liking this at all. There's a few things they didn't expect. They didn't expect Fellaini to play in almost a 10 position there, getting to the back post and the front post when the ball goes down wide there. They're playing 2 sitting midfielders. Dembele and Witsel are playing on doing this through the whole game. It's a good start from them.
Remember, Belgium scored their opening goal against Brazil from a corner that was on the left-hand side. Company has just whispered in the ear of to take it. Belgium playing from right to left. Chadley, right-footed, delivers it too deep, so deep that it curls all the way out of play for a goal kick. 6 minutes in, goalless. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, the build-up will start live in Moscow. Rachel Burton, 5 Live Breakfast, giving you all the flavour ahead of England's first World Cup semi-final in 28 years. You'll hear from Adrian Chiles live in Moscow throughout the day. Here we are in St. Petersburg, and I'm alongside Pat Nevin.
I'm just watching Alderweireld. He's just shouting over at Chadley there. Hey, can you remember what your position is? Asking an awful lot of Chadley, and by the way, he's given you an awful lot. But you think about it, you're asking him to play right back a lot of the time. He's been up on the right hand side getting 2 or 3 not great crosses in, and he took a good luck to him lasting 90 minutes or 120.
Company at the heart of the Belgian defence. He's got Alderweireld making a run out to the right, but he'll pass the ball to Chadli in this flexible system. When they've got the ball, they go to 3 at the back, and now Alderweireld comes over the halfway line. France have got everybody 7 hours of international football without a goal. 420 minutes since he last scored on the 28th of May against Ireland, as Hazard comes on the inside from this left-hand side, has some support behind him from Giroud, from De Bruyne, who had to stretch into that challenge and managed to poke it back towards Company. Alderweireld then hooks it back out towards the left-hand side. Standing still is Hazard, lays it behind him. Very gentle pace to the game. At times it's almost like a walking pace, as Company then spreads it to the far side, the right, where Chadli waits, lays it off. Witsel. Of Company. Here he is, the Tottenham player. He's the one who's come in for Meunier. It's meant that little shift to the formation, and the
formation.
Meunier suspended.
Watching Witsel coming back, sitting in front alongside Dembele, and when we all expected Fellaini to be in there, quite often in this game, in fact, the most forward-playing player in the entire Belgian side is Fellaini at the moment. It's consistently him alongside Lukaku.
Alderweireld forward to Chadli. Chadli cuts in on the right touch line onto his left foot, then he just checks back, rolls it towards De Bruyne. De Bruyne is quickly challenged as Matuidi puts him under pressure, but he holds on to the ball, does Kevin De Bruyne, and Company, his Manchester City teammate, and plays it short and square to Vertonghen. Vertonghen as he's approached by Mbappe to Company. Interception from Pavard, the right back, forward for France. Infield he goes, Witsel was covering. You had numerous players who could have been contender for man of the match against Brazil the other night for Belgium, and Witsel would have been one of them, as easily dealing with the threat of Hazard was Varane. But straight away Witsel was very alert in the centre of the field there for Belgium. It's still 0-0, 9 minutes.
Now that's the big panic up that you've got if you're Belgium. I think it's been a very good start from them. I think any nerves or worries they had of playing against the French or having any inferiority complex, there isn't one. Absolutely not. They're good in the ball, they're comfortable in that system just now. However, the big fear is if they lose the ball, they break quickly, obviously from Griezmann, but much more so from Mbappe. Just a moment ago there, great ball through there, and it was Varane that was going to have to chase Hazard. No one seems to beat Varane. Varane is absolutely lightning. What about Hazard? You can often tell by his first couple of touches what kind of game, what kind of mood he's on. He's in the mood.
Matuidi to Griezmann. Griezmann running at the Belgium defence, out towards Hernandez. The left back joins the attack. First time cross into the penalty area. Griezmann couldn't control it, bounced underneath his foot, and then it was away from Giroud. Pogba will try and win it back, and the challenge with Dembele, who goes to ground. Here is Pogba, chips the ball into the penalty area. Mbappe, a little touch, might fall towards Giroud, and Vertonghen will hook it away. Volleys it left-footed, high downfield. Running to meet it was Varane. It's overrun that ball, and here is Hazard now for Belgium in the all-red. Out towards Witsel, right-hand side, over the halfway line. 10 minutes played. Hazard now comes infield, central area. Fellaini then is the one who pops up on the left, and here is the Manchester United player. Plays it forward for his Manchester United teammate Lukaku, but again Varane was there. He was described as a Rolls-Royce defender by Martin Keown.
Rolls-Royce, but with an engine in it with a Ferrari as well. Unbelievable pace that he's got, but then he wasn't physically strong enough to hold off Romelu Lukaku, and maybe that's what Lukaku's trying to do. He's trying to maybe position himself so if the ball's played in there, his physical strength, not his pace, his physical strength will win the day. I'm finding this a fabulously intriguing game so far, and it's very, very fluid, and that's one of the great things about it.
Dembele wanted Lukaku to come short, so that move has broken down for Belgium as it was cleared by Varane, and Courtois will come out of his penalty area away to our right hand side. Alderweireld then goes infield to Vincent Kompany just outside the centre circle. Here is Vertonghen. Vertonghen rolls it forward. Lukaku does this time drop off, and then plays Hazard, who comes forward. Pavard has gone with him, and Pavard then with a back pass, and it's Umtiti who plays it forward. It was Matuidi who was quickly challenged by Witsel, and Belgium have won it back. France started the opening 2 minutes holding possession. Belgium, though, at the minute are possibly on top. As here is De Bruyne, but as you said, Pat, it's like a game of chess.
It is. I expected that actually at the start. I don't think it'll be on fire right from the start, but it'll be very intriguing, and they're trying to figure each other out, and I think the French are finding it much more difficult to figure out what the Belgians are doing and to cover them in various areas, particularly on that right hand side right at the start there. Getting up the line was Chadley, unexpected to see him there.
Pogba comes forward, early ball to Mbappe, and Mbappe has beaten Vertonghen for pace, but he will be relieved to see that Courtois, he was very alert. He saw that with his anticipation, and by the time the ball had gone past Mbappe, Courtois was already down and made the save at the very edge of his penalty area.
Well, you're right, Courtois does the right thing and he gets out there in time. I think that's a wee moment's hesitation though, just a moment's hesitation from him. He thought about it first, but once again, if it's 1-on-1 and it's Mbappe against any of those defenders, actually scratch that, Mbappe against anybody, anywhere, just about, he'll win it, and he is just lightning there.
Don't forget, you can listen to our commentary alongside the TV coverage either through the red button or the BBC Sport website and the app just by clicking on Watch with 5 Live. The worry for Vertonghen is that twice now Mbappe has beaten him comfortably.
He kind of would have known it. It's going to happen. I mean, if he gets isolated and it's 1-on-1 and the ball's beyond him, you're kidding yourself on if you're going to think you can stay with. I mean, he's not the quickest anyway. In fact, none of those defenders, if you're going to be absolutely honest, Alderweireld, Company or Vertonghen are particularly quick when you talk about the upper echelons of the game. So they know that, so they need protection. They need someone coming behind them, and it has to be no space in behind them as well. But it's going to happen now and again, so that's when it becomes important that Courtois gets out there and makes sure that he's sharp out there and plays as a sweeper keeper.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We're live in St. Petersburg for this first World Cup semi-final. France against Belgium. Pavard to Mbappe. Pogba on the halfway line, back to Pavard, who goes infield to Umtiti. Umtiti now will come forward for France, playing from left to right as we look. Left to the centre circle. Hernandez waits, and Matuidi will feed the ball out towards the French left-back, who looks up. Matuidi's going ahead of him. Griezmann, though, will come short. Witsel going with him, back towards Kante, forward ball. Sharp turn by Matuidi. Matuidi to Giroud. The little layoff didn't quite come off. Fell towards Witsel, who'll scoop it forward. Break on now for Belgium. Over the halfway line, De Bruyne, who runs in field. He holds off Kante. De Bruyne looking to link up with Lukaku, but the ball went behind Lukaku, who made a short diagonal run towards the right corner of the penalty area, and France are back in possession, and it's still goalless.
Genius piece of movement there from De Bruyne, who's got himself in a great position, picks up the ball in the area, kind of right wing there, against just about any team on the planet. He's free and he's away. Just be quiet for a moment because Lloris under a bit of pressure there. However, Kante, his reading of the play there was phenomenal.
De Bruyne slips it in. Hazard with the early shot, and across the face of goal it goes. Hitting left-footed, so it was always going away from goal as Lloris made the dive to his left. But that came from Lloris's clearance. Dembele's header slipped very quickly into Hazard. It was a first-time shot after receiving it from De Bruyne, and it was probably about a foot wide.
It is a foot wide, and it's a very, very difficult angle there, but he's got to take a shot on. However, had he looked up, Lukaku standing on the penalty spot on his own, nobody near him, he can't believe he didn't get the ball there. But I promise you also, Lukaku in the same position, he'd have had a shot too.
Goes for a goal kick that Lloris is going to take as the French tricolour flags are flying behind that goal away to our left-hand side. They struggled to get the Belgian support to Kazan. There was only 2 additional flights as Alderweireld charged down by Giroud, who chases after that ball on that far side, the left, plays in the cross. Matuidi, the angle is tight and quickly snuffed out by a combination of Chadley and Witsel, and it goes out for a goal kick. But there is a lot more red shirts that are evident here in St. Petersburg for this semi-final, the biggest game in Belgium's history. Their first semi-final since 1986, when they lost to Argentina, the eventual winners. But here they are, the golden generation, up against their neighbours.
I think they've got to be delighted though. That's a brilliant start by Belgium. I kind of half expected the Belgians to sit a little bit deeper, play in the break, wait for the gaps to open up for De Bruyne to run into, and Hazard, Lukaku to use his pace up the front. However, it's kind of been the other way around, hasn't it? The team that's been breaking has been France.
Yes.
Whereas most of the ball has been held, most of the possession has actually been held by the Belgians just now.
Fellaini's just given away a free kick. By the way, there's an amnesty now, so all yellow cards that have previously been accrued are wiped, and so only a red card would now result in a player missing Sunday's World Cup final. But of course, hopefully you'll be listening with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live, and hopefully we'll have your company tomorrow throughout the day. What a momentous day it could be. England against Croatia in the second semi-final. 0-0 here in the first, 17 minutes played. Mbappe, right-hand side. Hazard is back with him. Mbappe, though, goes on the outside. Well-timed sliding challenge made by Vertonghen, because he's a lively prospect. Is Mbappe out for a throw-in?
You do wonder, if you look around world football and you watch two players such as Varane at the back and Mbappe up front, I mean, surely there are very few quicker than him, those two in the whole world.
Pavard with a throw, hooked back into the penalty area by Giroud. De Bruyne tries to bring it away. Matuidi with a first-time shot. Boy, he got hold of that, but on his toes was Courtois, was well positioned, but that was a very well executed strike.
Yeah, smashed half volley there. Good technique to keep it down. How often do we see players smashing that over the top? Yeah, he kept it down, but it's going to have to be something to beat Courtois at the moment. He's been in exceptional form in this competition so far. By the way, what is becoming very, very obvious is that in Kante, N'Golo Kante, we wondered if he would be spending a lot of time looking after his teammate Eden Hazard. Absolutely not. He's spending much more of his time thinking about Kevin De Bruyne.
Company, forward ball along the ground, out towards the right wing back. Chadli with a cross, too deep. Curls its way away from the goal, picked up on this near side, the left by Hazard. Comes into the penalty area, Hazard with a shot, and it's been turned behind. And it's gone behind for a corner.
Yeah, I thought for a moment there was Fellaini who touched it there. He really caught it well there. It's going towards the goal.
Came off the head of Varane.
Yeah, I thought it was Fellaini, but you're right, it is Varane. Did he mean it? I think he does mean it. And that was going towards the goal. That was a great opportunity. And once again, so many top players look as if they're up for it today. De Bruyne looks in great form. Hazard absolutely fancies it today. I'm actually just surprised there's not a goal yet, only with 19 minutes gone.
Well, that was a fizzing effort. That's two in the space of 3 minutes from Eden Hazard. Corner kick. It's an outswinger, headed away by Umtiti at the near post. A little flick by Mbappe. Hazard will pick it up on the right-hand side to Chadli. Still 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Tight triangular passing pattern for Belgium. Chadli then. De Bruyne in field if he wants him. De Bruyne then scoops it forward, and Lloris came off his goal line all in yellow, dived forward and got something on it with his right fist. It's been kept in play by Pavard, the right back, to Pogba, checked by Company. Fellaini back to help out. All of a sudden the game just starts to open up a little bit now. Hazard faced by the prospect of Kante, so he checks back and now finds De Bruyne, who's operating on this left-hand side. To Hazard, the exchange passes not once but twice, and it's with Hazard who rolls it to Lukaku. Fellaini's almost alongside him. Hazard now comes to collect the ball. Dembele, standing 6 yards forward of the centre circle, spreads it out towards the right-hand side. Chadli. Hernandez wants to show him on the outside. He doesn't want him cutting in on his left foot. So Chadli to Hazard with his back to goal outside the penalty area. Witsel joins the attack. France have everybody back behind the ball. Belgium all in red. De Bruyne curls in a right-footed cross, comes off the head of Varane and goes behind for a corner kick.
Do you know, every time that Chadli gets the ball, he gets it in good areas. He's getting a little bit annoyed with himself because the quality of his crossing has been really poor so far. And if you've got Romelu Lukaku up there and Fellaini coming in at the back post as well, do you know what? It shouldn't be a difficult ball. It's an easy ball, just hang it back up there. If you can get a bit of pace on it, great. Every single time De Bruyne gets the ball wide, it's put in there with pace, with interest, so those two can attack it.
20 minutes played, still goalless. Belgium have a corner far side the right. Chadli to take it, right-footed. It falls to Alderweireld, and what a save by Lloris! That was a stunning save, full length, away towards his right, turns it behind for a corner.
Absolutely, I'm just about to shout for a goal there. I thought it was a certainty. He's read it well, he's got across in plenty of time in the end. Maybe he knows his Spurs teammate where he wants to put the ball, but he's curled it right towards the corner there. He's actually made that look fairly easy, but it's a superb save and he has read it perfectly.
Belgium are on top, but it's 0-0. Another corner kick. Chadli again to take it. Near side the left, right arm aloft. Strikes it right-footed, curling in. Headed up by Giroud, and the referee from Uruguay has spotted an infringement, and that will be a free kick. There is a fluidity fluidity about Belgium. They're interchanging, and at the moment it's very, very hard to guess because people keep moving.
Well, they're popping up everywhere, and it's a real surprise. I mean, half the time you're thinking, where's Kevin De Bruyne playing? Oh, he's playing the right wing. No, he's not. He's left wing now. And Fellaini, he's playing further up the field than Lukaku some of the time, and he's getting to the back post every single time. But when it settles down, you can see it is basically a 4-2-3-1. It's a quite old-fashioned 4-2-3-1, which matches up perfectly with the French. But the fact that the players are adaptable in a very, dare I say it, Dutch way in the old days, and I think that's what maybe he's trying to get into these players. Believe in yourself that you can adapt and move into different positions. To be honest, I was really surprised earlier on. Vertonghen found himself in the inside right forward position a couple of times. You don't expect that in a game like this.
And Titi looks for a ball over the top, and Giroud got something on it as he dived forward with an outstretched left leg, but he diverted the ball well wide of Courtois' goal away to our right-hand side.
Once again, unexpected things, players like Giroud trying to get beyond there, and he's capable of doing that. He's not lightning quick, but if there's half a chance he'll try and go beyond. At the moment he's got very, very little of the ball, Giroud. Nothing played into him from wide, and he would be desperate for that so he can link up.
Alderweireld goes long, searching diagonal ball that Pavard will head back, and it's scooped up by Hugo Lloris away to our left-hand side, all in yellow. So he was extended by his Tottenham teammate Alderweireld, but it was a very good save. And you consider before that Hazard's gone close on 2 occasions. We've just had the Matuidi strike for France, 0-0.
Yeah, the battle's all over the park that we're talking about. There's one between Pogba and Fellaini just now. They're playing against each other directly just now. That's a no contest at the moment. Fellaini's hammering him at the moment. We'll see if that continues.
Pavard to Mbappe. France playing from left to right, Kante, and now Varane in the centre circle to his central defensive partner Umtiti. Just outside the centre circle, back with Varane, as Belgium this time retreat and have everybody back behind the ball as Fellaini challenges Pogba. He just turns away from him and just touches the ball towards Kante. He'll now come forward. Matuidi creating the space for Hernandez to join, and Hernandez fires in the shot, and the block comes in from Alderweireld and goes behind for a corner kick to France, and it's still goalless on BBC Radio 5 Live, and we're in the 25th minute of the first semi-final here in Russia 2018.
But great passing and moving there to get it to the left-hand side. A little bit of an overlap from Hernandez on the far side there, but with both of these teams, every time there is a gap, they will find it. And that's where you can tell two good football teams that are filled with good players. There's a gap there, and it almost led to a chance.
Pogba's made a run, but in comes the corner from the left-hand side over his head, headed away by Fellaini, picked back up by Hernandez, met by a running Kevin De Bruyne, and it bounces away off his shins, and out of play it goes for a France throw on that far side, the left. Hernandez isn't happy with the pressure of the ball, so he requests another one from the ball boy behind the advertising hoardings. And something akin that you'd see at Wimbledon. And of course the coverage tomorrow at Wimbledon will continue throughout the day on BBC Radio 5 Live and on 5 Live Sports Extra as France almost try and get in round the back, but the flag was raised.
Once again, it's actually quite scary the pace that they've got in that team just now, and flying to the byline there, he's taken around 2 players there, Matuidi, but just overran the ball slightly. Better little minute or 2 for the French. I think they've been under a lot of pressure in this game.
They certainly have. 25 minutes in, the referee's having to say that the goal kick's got to be retaken. The ball was on the move, so Alderweireld was inside the penalty area, that's why it had to be retaken. So France retreat, Company now comes forward, but it's been a good watch. It's been a tactical battle between these two sides, and as Pat Nevin says, it's intriguing. Chadli strokes it back to Alderweireld. Now Company. Fellaini comes to collect the ball, then gives it back to Company. France have every player back behind the ball, inside their own half, away to our left. Here is Vertonghen now. Vertonghen to Dembele. France seem quite content for Belgium to have the ball here. Witsel now is forward. Chadli, Matuidi's gone across towards him. Chadli plays it back to Witsel. Dembele's in a central area, but it's back with the 3. Here is Company to Vertonghen to his left. Very narrow, nobody providing any width on this near side, the left, as they switch it to Alderweireld, and then over the head of Chadli and out of play for it goes for a throw. And the France approach there seemed to have paid off.
It did, but on that occasion, in the occasions before that in the game, it wasn't paying off. the Belgians were managing to manufacture it. They could get the ball to an area where they could get a half-decent cross in. Keep on going on to these different battles all over the field. Loving watching Kante playing against Kevin De Bruyne. That are two world-class players up against each other, and they're not quite cancelling each other out, but it is a great battle. And again, just the win between Pogba and his Manchester United teammate is superb to watch.
Belgium have won the ball. Here is Hazard. Man over on the left is De Bruyne. De Bruyne now looks up, edge of the penalty. Here he plays it in low. Excellent clearance by Umtiti, because once again Lukaku was lurking behind him, and that would have been a certain goal. He was on the stretch, but under pressure he dug it out well, and out of play it goes for a throw.
Honestly, at the moment, there's so many great players out there. De Bruyne is still just a bit above everyone else at the moment since the start of the game. Every time with the ball it looks dangerous.
Vertonghen with the throw from the left-hand side. Pavard's downward header. Dembele will get there before Giroud, but in doing so he's actually fouled the Chelsea striker to give away a free kick.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, De Bruyne, he's limited the amount of time on the ball. Every single time he's got it, he's put the ball in where you think, if someone's there, he'll score. It is amazing that he gets these spaces, and how he's got the intelligence to find out where the gaps will be, and when he's got it, it always ends up where he wants it to go.
And the threat is coming down this near side, the Belgium left, as Mbappe back to Varane, still goalless on BBC Radio 5 Live. Varane over the halfway line, sees Hernandez in space and will spread it out towards the left back, and Hernandez will accelerate against Chadli, who backpedals. Hernandez down towards the corner flag now, and Chadli then dives in and actually wins the ball. Down by the quadrant will play it forward. Witsel is the option as the release. Witsel now for Belgium. We've seen how devastating they can break in this World Cup competition, but on that time it's snuffed out, and Pogba towards Pavard, who plays it forward. Diagonal ball towards Giroud, who's done ever so well to get on the end of that, but in fact it bounces away from him and goes out of play for a Belgium throw on the right-hand side, as Roberto Martinez, who took a question from Pat Nevin in the press conference yesterday, you'd have heard that on 5 Live last night, with his arms folded in his suit in his technical area, just watches on. Didier Deschamps sat down on the dugout next to him.
I think Robbie will be really quite comfortable just now. Well, as comfortable as you possibly can be at 0-0 in the World Cup semi-final against the French national team. But comfortable in the fact that his team is playing well. The system that he's put out there has actually worked really well so far, but he would like to have had a goal by now. I think they've had enough to suggest that they're the better team so far to some degree. Now what the referee going to do here?
Well, what happened there where you were talking, Mbappe did a little flick inside. He was caught late by Vertonghen, and the referee at first I think was happy to let the game play on, but then of course he stopped it, and Vertonghen has been given a word of warning by the Uruguayan referee.
Harsh. I think he's run into Vertonghen's knee there. I thought for a moment there it was the famous or the infamous reducer, but it wasn't. I think he just ran into it.
That was what Martin Keown. It took a long time for the half-hearted reducer to arrive in the 30th minute of this first World Cup semi-final on BBC Radio 5 Live. France 0, Belgium 0. The free kick is midway through the Belgium half. It's in a central area of the field. Griezmann, hands on hips, is going to take it. Belgium at the moment have everybody back. There are 8 players strung out on the edge of the penalty area, all in red. Griezmann to Pavard. In comes the diagonal ball. Giroud with a header, wide. Goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, you know when it goes into the box, man, there's a number of players that can attack it, but I have said it often enough before, I don't think there's anyone better at the near post at heading the ball than that man Giroud. I mean, he's absolutely stunning at it. He almost always gets on the end of it, and when he does so, it's usually on target. That time, nowhere near enough power on it, but he's very, very good in the air, and you always have to mark well beyond the front post if you're going to keep that danger out.
After the game tonight, we've got a special programme for you on BBC Radio 5 Live, as Hazard is away from Pavard, he's away from Pogba. Pogba actually tried to bring him down there, and in the end Hazard actually complains. Referee says, I played the advantage, but they couldn't deal with him on a couple of occasions, and it was just a shame they'd actually ran out of playing surface.
Yeah, great strength there. I mean, he's taking Pavard out of the game, and he's got a tough one in Pogba. I think he's got beyond him. He's been clipped in the back of the leg. He definitely was fouled. But you're right, the referee allowed it to play on. Certainly Hazard was kicked there, and he'll be disappointed he didn't get a free kick.
So the special programme after tonight's game is with Gary Lineker, Jurgen Klinsmann and Chris Waddle as they relive England's last World Cup semi-final in 1990. And that will also be available as a daily World Cup podcast. Griezmann into the penalty area for Giroud, who's gone down in the box. The referee says nothing untoward occurred there. Won back by Matuidi to Griezmann, flicks it back. Hernandez back towards Griezmann. Nice little interchange between the two. Cross, blocks, falls to Griezmann outside the penalty area. Griezmann onto his right foot, always on the rise, over the top, goal kick. It's still goalless between these two.
He'll be furious about that, Griezmann. There will not be that many opportunities in that sort of area. Yes, it's 20 yards out. Yes, it's kind of running away from, but he should be getting that on target. And I do think sometimes you look up and you see Courtois and go and think, I'm going to have to try and make it extra special. And you're absolutely right. He's, well, not quite ballooned it, but put it well over the top.
13 minutes to go to half-time. We're awaiting the first goal in this semi-final here in St. Petersburg. Dembele of Tottenham Hotspur. Fellaini, left of the centre circle, rolls it to Alderweireld. Forward straight away to Chadli on that far side, the right. Witsel, caught in possession. Kante now surges forward, over the halfway line. Strong run by Kante. Giroud going on ahead of him. It's played just a fraction behind Giroud and the move breaks down. Company towards De Bruyne. He miscontrols it. Griezmann looks for the ball over the top. Mbappe plays it towards Giroud, sliding in. And he's going to go to play for a goal kick.
Well, no complaints from Giroud there. The ball comes into him and I think, why are you not getting there first? Good defending to get back in him. But in the fact that he does not complain about that, I do not think that's a penalty kick. Great little touch there. Back there, actually, Giroud definitely gets the last touch on it, but he doesn't get any power on it. What a great touch by Mbappe though. It just shows you, it just takes a second for the French to turn it in. I mean, they've created very little in this game so far, but that was just the best moment for them.
Mind you, when they won the World Cup in 98, Christophe Dugarry, 1 goal. Stefan Guivage, who's now a swimming pool salesman in Brittany, didn't score. On the back of that, ended up going to Newcastle United, didn't he, Stefan Guivage? A World Cup winner, and Olivier Giroud, yet to score in this tournament, has had a couple of efforts, a header wide, and then that one that was well wide too for France. Here is Hazard. Lukaku.
It's been a hard one for Lukaku, hasn't it? He's not really got much involvement in the game. Not sure I'm blaming him for that because there's not much come up to him so far. They've been quite slow getting the balls in there. Just a couple from De Bruyne are put into dangerous areas. Nothing landed at his head yet.
Dembele collected that ball in the central area and then has lost it. Griezmann now run forward. He's being held there by Dembele on the edge of the centre circle, and it'll be a free kick to France inside their own half, as we've got about 10 minutes to go to half-time as Pogba switches play out towards the left. And Hernandez is forward and he's over the halfway line. He's got Matuidi ahead of him, Giroud central, and Mbappe on the right-hand side. Pavard is also forward as Varane now comes forward into the Belgium half. And everybody, bar Titi, is in the half away to our right-hand side. That was given away by Griezmann to Vertonghen. Forward towards Hazard. Pavard is quickly back, and then there's a challenge there by Griezmann on Hazard. And Hazard will get a free kick. And I would imagine with Ronaldo signing for Juventus today, the speculation will continue. I also noticed that in the Spanish press he was being linked with Barcelona. The Chelsea player could well become a man in demand. The former Chelsea player, Pat Neville.
Yeah, well, I think he already is a man in demand. I think any of those clubs would take him, but I think Chelsea are pretty keen on hanging on to him. And I think there's a decent chance he will stay at Chelsea because he's kind of laid-back character. He is that kind of guy that if he's happy where he is, he might stay.
Well, it's a special game for Hazard, who grew up supporting France actually in 98. There's pictures of him in social media on holiday wearing his France top. Certainly saw him play for Lille in a very talented side a number of years ago as the attack from Lukaku to De Bruyne just broke down. Maybe a break here now for France. Griezmann into the centre circle, sees an area of space and runs into it. He's away from Witsel, and Griezmann in the end goes it alone. He had Matuidi ahead of him, but Matuidi might have been in an offside position, and in the end it was a tired left-footed shot that was dragged well wide, out for a goal kick. Giroud's down in the centre circle, might require treatment.
Yeah, Giroud's holding on to his calf there now. If it's a kick on his calf, then he might be okay there, but really nice break there by Griezmann. Good pace right through the middle. I say good pace, not quite Mbappe kind of pace, but really good pace there. But he's pulled his left foot shot really badly. Trying to look at Giroud there, he stayed down. I didn't see any kick on the back of him, and we're actually seeing a little slow motion here. Yeah, he gets clipped by mistake. Let's try to see who was running past there. It was Dembele, wasn't it?
Yeah. Dembele's just caught him. It was accidental, but Olivier Giroud is the player who's getting treatment at the moment. So we've got a stoppage in play.
That's good news, though. I mean, I think most football fans are aware of that. You know, if a player goes down after a kick, it's usually better news than a player goes down when there's nobody near him, especially if you hold your calf. If you pull your calf and nobody's near you, you generally stay pulled and you have to go off.
Well, he's back on his feet now, but play is yet to resume. Don't forget that we mentioned Rachel Burden from 6 o'clock in the morning, giving you an early taster of what life will be like on World Cup semi-final day as far as England are concerned. She'll be live from 6. Rio Ferdinand with his World Cup breakfast show at 8:30. Rio Ferdinand is one of the guests, and a cameo appearance from your good self, Pat, I understand.
Apparently so. And I had great fun on Robbie's show the other day. It was lovely fun, very lively. Ping pong man on there as well, Robbie's mum.
Giroud has just come to the side of the pitch. He'll just have a little swig of water. It looks okay to continue. 7.5 minutes to go to half-time in this tight tactical battle in St. Petersburg. Dembele, Witsel, back to Dembele. Belgium in all red, playing from right to left. Hazard waits, looks up, crossfield ball from left to right. One bounce, it was a lively bounce, got a bit of kick there, up towards the chest of Chadley, then back towards De Bruyne. Witsel just outside the centre circle. Very languid Dembele comes forward, gives it away straight to Kante. Nothing languid about that little dynamo. Here is Giroud, helps it on towards Pogba, over the halfway line. Matuidi's making the run on that far side. It goes out towards the near side, the right. Mbappe right corner of the penalty area. Here is Griezmann coming onto the ball. Shot charge down off his left foot, cleared away by Vertonghen inside the penalty area. Still goalless on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ball runs now towards Pavard, the right back. Forward ball to Mbappe. Belgium have everybody back. Slips it into Pavard. Pavard! I think got a touch from the keeper. It's gone behind for a corner kick because Pavard saw the opportunity and he fired it away, and the legs of Courtois have taken it behind.
I think we've got to call that probably the best chance of the game, possibly even the best move of the game as well. And once again, those long legs of Courtois, that was the goal. If he didn't put that out there, superb play by him. Could he possibly have cut it back? I don't think so. I think he did the right thing there, just brilliantly saved by the keeper.
Corner kick, fired in low, headed away by De Bruyne. Only partially cleared. It's going to come out to Pavard, out towards Pogba now. Right corner of the penalty area. They've doubled up on Pogba with Witsel and Hazard. Pavard's cross, cleared away by Belgium, headed back by Hernandez. Mbappe with a little flick. Giroud's not going to chase that, he's just walking back from an offside position. Well, he scored an absolute belter against Argentina. It wasn't going to match that in terms of its strike, but in terms of the significance to get the opening goal in a semi-final for Benjamin Pavard, who's had a brilliant season at unfashionable Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. To score his second goal for his country in a semi-final would have been one to certainly cherish, but it's still 0-0, and Courtois making the save with his leg. Earlier, Lloris with an excellent save from Alderweireld, as now this is Vertonghen to Company.
It's less fluid now, though, for the Belgians. Have had 5 minutes where I think France have been the better side, and rather worrying for Belgium, that place in the D there where Griezmann likes to get the ball, he's got it 2 or 3 times there in the last 10 minutes. He is usually incredibly dangerous from there. That's something that Belgians have to worry about. Company
in the centre circle. Fellaini shows himself, rolls it back to Alderweireld. Fellaini once again going to come under from Matuidi, pressure there, and they've actually lost it. Matuidi to Kante. Griezmann, deep roll, threads it forward. Pogba can come onto this ball. Early ball from Pogba, out towards Matuidi. Closed down by Chadley. It's forced back just a fraction. Midway through the Belgium half, and it's still 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Hernandez just in from the touchline on that left-hand side. Kante, Pogba, long way out from goal. Plays it forward, looks towards Matuidi. Little flick header, safely into the arms of Courtois.
One of the big reasons why Belgium are really beginning to struggle now is sadly, I think we have to announce that we've got the other Romelu Lukaku playing today, not the one that we had against Brazil, who was all action, who was all power, who was making runs everywhere. It's just not happening today at all, and he's already gone over and tried to have a quick word with the manager, saying, this isn't working, can I do anything different? But so far, I mean, hey, still capable of scoring a goal, and with the players that he's got around him, they're still capable of creating a goal. But the all-action, world-class player that we saw last week, or a few days ago, not here yet.
Well, we'll see where he can get on the end of this, as Chadley's cross actually doesn't go anywhere near him. It's cleared away by Umtiti. Of course, the accusation in the Premier League has been a flat-track bully. He's 4 goals in this tournament, 2 against Panama and 2 against Tunisia. Although he was very impressive the other night, despite not getting on the score sheet against Brazil in the quarter-final when we were in Kazan.
It's the lack of movement, really, off the ball. I mean, we can see it here. I'm very interested here with Martin and Dion back in the studio, but we can see all the movement off the camera screens here, and there's not a lot from Romelu Lukaku. And, I mean, I hate to say it, but you have to say it. It's just the case. He's very static at the moment.
The other thing as well, of course, when they played against Brazil, he operated mainly on the right, didn't he? And the space in the centre was for De Bruyne to try and come forward.
I actually think that's when 2 minutes ago he went over to have a word with the manager, Martinez. I think that's what he was asking for.
Here is Mbappe, right corner of the penalty area. Mbappe into the penalty box, tries to work over the cross, takes the deflection. Fellaini now to Hazard for Belgium, still goalless on 5 Live. Hazard, stopped by N'Golo Kante. Griezmann now coming forward. Little flick there to Pogba. Pogba now can come forward, goes down under a challenge from Dembele. That'll be a free kick to France. And it is about 25 yards out from goal. It's right of centre.
Mildly surprised it's not a yellow card as well. I think he's dragged him back there, knew exactly what he's doing in that situation. But it's, as you say, an incredibly difficult position. In these last 5, 6, 7 minutes, France seem to have figured out. They've figured out all the little difference, all the little tweaks that the Belgians have made, and the Belgians are no longer finding any fluency or any space going forward.
Yet to have a yellow card in this game, as the wall will not retreat back the full 10 yards. Griezmann, well, it's 25 yards out, but it's right of centre. Courtois has got 4 players in the wall, so he's lining up that little red wall now to try and protect what would be his left-hand post, as he's away to our right-hand side. Griezmann, it's going to have to be something special to beat Courtois from this distance and at this angle. Under 2 minutes to go to half-time. 0-0. We're live in St. Petersburg. Griezmann, hands on hips, waits. It's only a short run-up. Strikes it now into the wall. Comes back to Griezmann. Rolls it forward. Umtiti won't keep that ball in play. Peters out. Goal kick. Goalless. Pat Nevin.
Not a great free kick there. I love your description of 4 men, a little wall. Little, which included Lukaku and Fellaini.
It was little in terms of quantity.
Numbers, yes. I knew exactly what you meant there. But you're right. It has to be something extra special there. And that is one of the things I suppose you have to remember at the Belgian team. Time and again, you know, this competition, particularly against the Brazilians, you got past that defence that was playing really well, and that deep line midfield. You still got Courtois there, who's been absolutely, well, he's been perfect form in this competition so far.
We're inside the last 60 seconds of this first half on BBC Radio 5 Live. We'll find out very, very soon how much added on time there will be. France 0, Belgium 0. Hazard just outside the centre circle to Witsel. And it's just the additional 60 seconds that we're into. A rendition of La Marseillaise is being sung by the French supporters away to our left-hand side. Belgium just keeping the ball, waiting for an opening. Very, very patient. Witsel to Chadley. And then Chadley will go back to Alderweireld. The neutrals wanted an early goal to try and open things up. It didn't materialise, and we've now tactical battle between these two neighbouring countries. Hoisted high to De Bruyne. Lays it off first time behind him. Chadley to Witsel. Forward on that right-hand side, De Bruyne whips in the cross, and then it came towards Lukaku because Umtiti missed it, and it's bounced off him and gone behind for a goal kick, and that's the last action of the first half. Yeah, but to be honest, that's a tough one for him to take there. He didn't expect, and also Umtiti got a little touch on it as well, and it's clipped up and it's actually hit Romelu Lukaku. So there, as you see, is the half-time whistle. It's actually hit Lukaku in the hand there. No blame on him. That would have been impossible to control. Half-time then, France 0, Belgium 0. Hazard with a couple of efforts. Alderweireld producing a fine save from Lloris at full stretch. And at the other end, Matuidi tested Courtois. Giroud's had a header wide. And then there was an excellent save by the legs of Courtois to keep out the right-back Pavard. But half-time, Kelly, it's France 0, Belgium 0.
Ian, thank you very much. Pat, no goals at half-time, but that doesn't mean it's been a boring match.
No, absolutely not. I thought the French started really well, as Ian was saying, the first couple of minutes, lively, sharp. But when the Belgians got a foothold in the game, I thought it looked really good. Very, very intelligent the way they set up. In fact, it's quite a simple 4-2-3-1 that they're playing just now, and it's getting Fellaini as far forward as possible. And for a while, it confused the life out of the French, and they were creating half chances here, getting good crosses in from the right and the left, most of them from Kevin De Bruyne. But it would appear to me in the last 10 minutes or so, the French have realised, actually, nothing complicated here. It's 4-2-3-1. We've got the players to cover that. Make sure that the dangerous ones, such as Hazard, are crowded. He's become more crowded out as the game is going on. And Kante, he's stayed as close as he can to Kevin De Bruyne. And that's what's made these last 10 minutes or so belong to France. Because when they broke into areas where the likes of Griezmann and Mbappe can get the ball, and they look dangerous, but not dangerous enough to score.
No, that's the point, isn't it, Dion? There have been chances, but I mean, obviously no goals in it as yet. But are you surprised there haven't been any?
I was expecting goals because we've got so many good forward players on show, but it's an important game and they're defending with their lives. Both keepers have had to make a sort of goal-scoring save. It was going to go in. A great save from Courtois, and then Lloris at full stretch. And I'm thinking to myself, is he trying to catch this or punch it? He actually tried to catch it to keep it safe, but he put it round the corner. So they've both had one good chance each. They're just cancelling each other out at the moment. And I wanted goals, but I half expected a game like this, which was going to be really tight as well. Hazard can make the difference without a doubt. What Belgium are doing now is Lukaku's playing up top on his own. De Bruyne and Hazard don't really have a position. They're just playing wherever they want to play. Martin, you've just said to me before we came on air that Chadli, you talked about you wanted to chat about Chadli, didn't you?
It's quite interesting how Chadli, Pat, how he's getting out. He's effectively, they're playing one system when they're out of possession and one when they're in, and if it goes to a back three. And Chadli he's been quite a revelation in this tournament, to be honest. Hardly played for West Bromwich Albion. There might be a question mark and wondering why that was. I know he had an injury, but it didn't seem like he even wanted to play for West Brom last season, I have to say. He's raiding down that right-hand side, then De Bruyne just steps in. And it's a little bit of a problem because they don't know how to pick him up. And I think Pat's right, they seemed quite confused, the French, early on in this game. There was a really good chance Mbappe showed his pace, but it's almost like they've said, okay, right, we know that you've got an incredible pace on that right-hand side, and Vertonghen probably not quick enough, but we don't care. We're going to set our stall out to hurt you, because Hazard's going to play on the left and he's going to raid inside. We'll put De Bruyne on the right and we're going to put crosses into that box. And Lukaku just at the moment has not been able to get on the end of things. When Belgium have really surprised me at how well, and the tactics are certainly working for them at the moment.
And what about the one-on-ones then? We've seen this as well on Mbappe, didn't we? The one-on-ones with any of the back three of Belgium. Any straight ball, any diagonal run straight ball is going to work for Mbappe.
He's in, and if that's what it might take, just one of those moments, raw pace, over the top. I mean, there's a bit of a love-in with me for Mbappe.
No, you don't say.
My producer here has pulled me up on it already. But no, he has to be applauded when you see that kind of pace on a football field. I mean, you're out of your seat, aren't you? I'm sure people there in the stadium. It's just it sends a tingle down your back, the back of your neck, because it's just raw, unabandoned pace is quite remarkable to see. But we haven't been able to get. They haven't been able to get him in the game nearly enough, and that's because Belgium have really hogged possession.
There has only been one World Cup semi-final ever that ended 0-0. It was Netherlands against Argentina in 2014. If there are goals in the second half of this match between France and Belgium, we'll get them in the second half with Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis. Now though, it's time for the BBC News with Richard Foster.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
The Thai football team and their coach have been rescued after being trapped in a cave for more than 2 weeks. Heavy rain caused water levels to rise, and the group was saved by an international team of divers. Chris Boardman is from the British Caving Association.
It was not over until it was over. The risk was huge. It was necessary. It was really the only way to get them out. But as we saw from the tragic death of the former Thai Navy SEAL just a few days ago, this really was very, very dangerous right from the start to the finish.
Two MPs who were vice chairs of the Conservative Party are quitting their posts in protest at the Chequers plans for Brexit. Maria Caulfield and Ben Bradley say they'll lose their seats unless the Tories deliver Brexit. The man exposed to a nerve agent in Wiltshire has woken up in hospital. Charlie Rowley became ill in Amesbury on the 30th of June. His partner, Dawn Sturgis, died of Novichok poisoning on Sunday. Our correspondent, Ben Ando, is in Amesbury.
It will also give real impetus to the police investigation. They're investigating the murder of Dawn Sturgis. It may be that when he's reached consciousness, when he speaks to police officers, he'll be able to say exactly how it was. He believes he came into contact with this nerve agent.
2 relatives have been convicted of the manslaughter of a teenager who was allowed to rot to death. Jordan Burling weighed less than 6 stone when he went into cardiac arrest in Leeds in 2016. His mother, Dawn Cranston, and grandmother Denise were both found guilty. Jordan's sister, Abigail Burling, was convicted of causing or allowing his death. A female prison worker has been arrested on drugs offences in Greater Manchester. She's being held on suspicion of possession with intent to supply and misconduct in a public office. The woman works at HMP Hindley in Wigan. Police say they've also recovered Class A and Class B drugs. And concerts, comedy gigs and other live performances are being cancelled or altered because of England's World Cup semi-final against Croatia tomorrow. Comedians Jason Manford and Chris Ramsey have postponed their shows. Justin Timberlake will screen the game before his concert at the O2 in London. All Saints will wait for it to finish before starting theirs.
BBC 5 Live.
Wherever the story is, we are there. On the ground, 24 hours a day.
This is it, the 2018 FIFA World Cup.
Lingard plays it into the back post. Dele Alli heads it in. It's 2-0 to England.
Live from Windsor this morning, you are listening to all the build-up to the royal wedding.
2 young people fell in love, and we all showed up.
We hear reaction to the biggest breaking stories from around the world.
The rescue plan that they put into action this morning can actually work.
19 elite divers went in once again on this grueling mission.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
We speak to the biggest guests.
Mr. Noel Gallagher.
Russell Crowe's on the programme.
Cara Delevingne. Eric Cantona.
And most importantly, you.
The atmosphere is absolutely amazing.
I'm so happy now.
There's just been absolutely no movement.
It transcends anger. They actually did this.
Live, unpredictable, unmissable.
This is BBC 5 Live.
Live from Russia, this is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
Hello, welcome back to Moscow. We'll be live in St. Petersburg very shortly for the second half of France's semi-final against Belgium for a chance to play in the World Cup final against either England or Croatia. That match kicks off at 7 o'clock and all the build-up all day tomorrow to that match in Moscow. Elsewhere, Serena Williams came from a set down to reach the Wimbledon semi-finals. Williams beat Italy's Camilla Giorgi in 3 sets. She'll face Germany's Julia Gorgas on Thursday. The other semi-final will be between another German, Angelique Kerber, and Latvia's Jelena Ostapenko. In the men's draw, Juan Martín del Potro has set up a quarter-final meeting with Rafa Nadal after beating France's Gilles Simon. Colombia's Fernando Gaviria won a sprint finish to win stage 4 of the Tour de France, his second of this year's race. Greg Van Avermaet retained the leader's yellow jersey, with Team Sky's Geraint Thomas 3 seconds back in third, and defending champion Chris Froome a further 52 seconds behind in 17th. The BBC's chief sports writer Tom Fordyce looks back on the dramatic finish to day 4.
Yeah, a thrilling finish to stage 4 here in Sarzeau in Brittany. A breakaway had been away for almost the whole stage, almost all of the 195 kilometres, caught right at the end, and then a wonderful sprint finish from the brilliantly talented young Colombian Fernando Gaviria, just about holding off world champion Peter Sagan and the German Andre Greipel. Rob Hales, former pro rider, it feels like we're seeing the emergence of a new superstar of the sport.
Yes, Gaviria, he's no stranger to winning races, but in a Grand Tour, this is his first Tour de France, and he has delivered. He's got the team to help him, but also the young Colombian. He's an incredible bike rider, and he obviously revels in it and thrives off it, and the pressure that he must have been feeling in those final few hundred metres. But he can deliver, and that's what it takes to be a great sprinter, and he is showing that he has got a lot more to come.
No change in the yellow jersey today. That still belongs to Belgium's Greg Van Avermaet, and a relatively comfortable day for Britain's Chris Froome.
Yeah, we did have a crash, quite a big crash, which held up one or two of the GC contenders. Rigoberto Urán, second place from last year, he got held up but got back on just before the finish. Fortunately for him, Ilnur Zakarin from Team Katusha, he's lost a minute after that. But all of the other guys, pretty much a relatively stress-free day for them.
More from me and Rob on the Bespoke podcast later in all the usual places.
Yes, that Bespoke Atlas Tour podcast will be available just a bit later tonight, as it will after every stage of this year's tour. Cristiano Ronaldo has joined Juventus from Real Madrid, signing a 4-year contract. The 33-year-old has become one of the 4 most expensive players of all time in a deal worth €112 million. Arsenal have signed Uruguay midfielder Lucas Torreira from Sampdoria. West Ham are in discussions with Lazio to sign midfielder Felipe Anderson for a club record fee of around $40 million. Wolves boss Nuno Espirito Santo has signed a 1-year contract until 2021. Celtic have beaten FC Alashkert 3-0 in the first leg of the first qualifying round of the Champions League. On to cricket, and England have won the ODI series against New Zealand. They beat the tourists by 123 runs in the second match at Derby. Half-centuries for Tammy Beaumont and Nat Skiver helped England to 241. Teenage bowlers Katie George and Sophie Eccleston then took 3 wickets each as New Zealand were bowled out for 118. Here's the assessment of former England captain Charlotte Edwards.
Really good today, I think, on a quite a hard wicket to score runs on. I thought they got a good total and they've bowled superbly again and completely outplayed New Zealand.
Are you surprised by New Zealand's frailties during this series?
Absolutely. I think everyone is. Coming off the back of Ireland, where they were so dominant, and they've come here, and England have totally outplayed them, certainly in the ODI format. And it's hard viewing at times, really watching them, because they look really uneasy against the England bowlers, and England look totally on top.
We'll be building up to England against Croatia all day tomorrow on 5 Live, from Robbie Savage's World Cup breakfast in the morning all the way through to the 7 o'clock kickoff here in Moscow. One of the key battles, of course, will be in midfield. How will England cope with the Real Madrid and Barcelona duo Luka Modric and Ivan Rakitic? Well, Jordan Henderson will be in the thick of it.
Well, I can't tell you our plan, but obviously the players that you've mentioned are fantastic players. I feel they're a fantastic team. They work for each other, they work together, and that's obviously why they're in the semi-final of the World Cup. Yes, I've played against Modric a few times, and he's a world-class player, probably one of the best I've played against. So hopefully he has a quiet night tomorrow. But we'll do our best to try and keep him quiet, but everybody else as well, because they've got a lot of threat from different areas. But we've been working on the last few days on what we need to do, and hopefully we've just got to go out there and implement it in the game.
That was Jordan Henderson, not giving too much away about their midfield tactics for the game against Croatia tomorrow, the World Cup semi-final tomorrow. Martin Keown, is it right to suggest that that's going to be the most crucial area of the pitch tomorrow night?
Without doubt. And if you look at Rakitic, Modric, 2 great technicians, pass the ball very well. I think Brozovic will also play very deep in that midfield. That's the formation they played against Argentina. And Argentina, they won the game 3-0, and they played with the back 3. And that's probably their only experience in this tournament, Croatia. They've struggled a little bit in the last couple of matches, Denmark and against Russia, where they both went to extra time. They went behind in both matches. And in arriving here, they didn't actually win their group to get here. Iceland had done that, and they had to qualify through the playoffs. They are a very, very good side, but I do feel they're beatable. But they know how to play against the back 3. The confidence of what they did against Argentina will set them up for this one. But England play slightly differently. We have 3 midfield players, whereas pretty well Argentina had 2. So it's a game we can win, but we need to be respectful of what they do. There's so many good players. Perisic, who plays on the left, he's strong, he's quick. Rebic on the right, another one. They're like twins, both very quick. He's right-footed, he'll go for goal. So every department they look very strong, but the defence looks vulnerable to me, and I think that Lovren might just give us an opportunity. Think back to Harry Kane playing against him at Wembley.
That's it, Martin, that's it. That's where it's going to be won.
Lovren had to depart the action for the afternoon. I hope that's still implanted in his mind.
I think that's the one. I think it's going to be Kane, it's going to be Sterling with his runs. Lingard as well likes to make a third man run. Dele Alli, if he starts as well, we know that he can pick a pass and he can split defences in 2 with a great pass. So I just think, if it's Vida and Lovren, with all due respect, we haven't won the game yet, but I'd be happy with them too.
The thing is, though, that if they're going to play these 2 wide players we talked about, Perisic and Rebic, they play very, very high and very wide, and it will take all of our 5 defenders back again but what we've got to do is then break when possible.
We've got enough, Martin. We've got enough. We've got enough. You know that.
They will hog possession, that's for sure.
Dion's gone hard and he's gone early. It's England against Croatia. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. You'll be able to listen to that one on 5 Live Sport. Tonight, though, it's all about France and Belgium and their semi-final. It's 0-0 at half-time. If you want to watch it on BBC television, you can listen to 5 Live's commentary by pressing the red button or going to the BBC Sport website. To take you through the second half, Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis.
I'm looking forward to seeing Dion on my TV screen in Moscow tomorrow as his touchline reporter, the big man, trying to keep his emotions in check. The emotions tomorrow night, you'll get it all the build-up from 6 o'clock, but the second half is about to start here, because who will England or Croatia be playing in Sunday's final in the Luzhniki? Well, it'll be France or Belgium, but they're locked together at 0-0 here in St. Petersburg. Neither side has made a change. Lloris is in goal. Pavard, Varane, Umtiti and Hernandez the defence for France, and Kante, N'Golo Kante and Pogba at the midfield, with Matuidi on the left, Mbappe on the right, Griezmann behind Giroud. France in the blue, and Belgium get the second half underway in the all-red with Courtois in goal. You've got Alderweireld, Kompany and Vertonghen. Chadli playing as a right back, with the midfield of Witsel, Dembele and Fellaini, Hazard, De Bruyne and Lukaku. Alderweireld is forward, cannot pick out Chadli. De Bruyne, though, was alert to the prospect of that ball coming back towards him, and it was Hernandez who clears it out of play. By the way, should just reiterate, it's a back four when they're out of possession, but when Belgium are in possession, they do play with the 3 at the back. Very, very flexible. Throw in down by the corner flag as Belgium play from left to right. Chadli towards De Bruyne, cleared by Kante. Let's get the early thoughts in this second half from Pat Nevin.
I think what Belgium have tried to do is start the same way as they played most of the first half, pushing Fellaini that little bit further up the field there. Interesting, I was having a quick chat with Danny Murphy before we got back to it, and I'll fill you in at the moment.
Mbappe cuts forward and off that right touch line, and then he stopped. Kompany towards Fellaini, drags it back out towards that far side, the left for Hazard, comes forward now, and a pacey ball along the ground out towards Chadli. You got time to do it now, Pat?
Yeah, quite simply, we both started talking about Lukaku immediately, and the fact that why he isn't getting involved in the game. You know, there's nowhere to run behind because he's not got the pace to go beyond Varane, and he knows that. And the balls that are coming in aren't good enough, and we've both agreed. I chatted quite a bit before the game, before the half-time, about Chadli not getting good enough quality in. It's not difficult. 2 big lads in there. Give it a bit more there. Just clip it into the back post and let them attack it. Whereas Chadli, you try to play the perfect ball in. You don't need to do that when you get 2 absolute lumps like them. 2 are fabulous in the air. Just leave it up there.
Well, here is Chadli, but he lays it off first time for Witsel. Witsel with the ball into the penalty area, and Lukaku's header is over the top. He had 11 touches in the first half. It's taken him 2 minutes in the second half, but his header 6 yards out, always going over the crossbar, still 0-0.
Dan and I just have a wee look at each other and say, yes, that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. Get the ball wide and try and clip it in there. He'll attack it. It doesn't need to be perfect, and they've done it within 2 minutes of the start of the second half. Well done, Belgium. That was a weakness you had, and it was driving Lukaku mad. You can see him as soon as you put it in there. Get it wide. Don't mess about. Give him a chance.
By the way, you're talking about Lukaku at the other end. Giroud, who's yet to even have a shot on target in this World Cup, let alone the game, yet to have a shot on target in this tournament so far. Hazard caught by Pogba, free kick just short of the halfway line. Pogba goes to apologise to Hazard. It'll be a free kick to Belgium on that far side, the left. 3 minutes into the second half as Kompany's ball towards Witsel, 6 yards inside the France half. Now back with Alderweireld, who tested Lloris to produce an excellent save from his Tottenham teammate earlier in the game. Chadli now cuts in off the right touchline to De Bruyne with his back to goal. Carves it back towards Chadli, plays it in first time. Good header away by Pogba, who'd gone with Fellaini stride for stride, and he needed to make that intervention because Fellaini would have had a real chance inside that penalty area.
Again, the complaints of making a half-time there. Again, Danny and I saying the same thing. Get that wide area. Make sure you give the guys a chance. Don't play Fellaini up there right beside Lukaku and then don't play the ball into him. They've done that twice. I'm sure Robbie Martinez has said that to him at half-time.
In capital letters on our notes in front of us, big capital letters written over a few times in his navy pen is Pogba, Fellaini, Kante, Hazard, Umtiti, Lukaku, Griezmann, Witsel, Mbappe, Fellaini, and then you've got Kompany, Giroud. So you've got all those various head-to-heads that Pat Nevin had highlighted ahead of this game.
I mean, actually, each one of them was an enjoyment to watch just now.
Alderweireld fires it forward. Clearance. Witsel goes down. De Bruyne was looking towards Lukaku. Umtiti will turn, and Lukaku, actually the last touch, as both he and De Bruyne were pressing in the penalty area, comes off the knees of De Bruyne and ricochets behind for a goal kick, but it's still tight, Pat.
Yeah, big news, and De Bruyne gave the ball away there. He tried to play a pass between three players. You know what? He knew that it was a 10% chance of working, but he did exactly the right thing. Have a go at that pass. You never know, it might go through. There was nothing to lose, so that'll go down in the stats as the ball given away, yet it was exactly the right thing to do.
Lloris, all in yellow, bright yellow away to our right hand side, just strokes it out towards Varane, and coming to collect it is Kante. Now with France and Hernandez over the halfway line on this near side, the left. Matuidi infield, Giroud, nice little turn, snuffed out by Kompany, and takes the ball behind, spinning for a corner kick. That was much sharper by Olivier Giroud.
It's one of those battles I was talking about before, Kompany versus Giroud. Really good turn there by Giroud there. Needs to maybe give it a little bit more curl towards the back post, but you have to say it is very, very good defending by Kompany. Had to get close, got tight, got a foot on it, but he gives away a corner kick.
Came off the bench against England. This is his third start in this competition. The iconic figure for Manchester City, as in comes the corner kick, headed into the near post by Umtiti. France strikes 6 minutes into the second half. Set piece, deadlock broken in St. Petersburg, and it's France who have the advantage. 1-0.
And for all the complicated different systems you're going to play out there, for all the little 1-2s and great passes, simple corner into the box, near post, flick by the big centre half. Football can be a very simple game. Try to see who was supposed to be marking him, maybe Fellaini, but Fellaini's got Pogba in his mind. We never really quite looked to see who was the last person. I think it hits, and Titi headers it first, and it hits off maybe the top of Fellaini's head a wee bit. Maybe just flicks off his hair. Yeah, maybe just flicks off his hair and goes in. Still think you give that goal to Umtiti, but the last touch is Fellaini.
Umtiti's third goal for France. He scored his first against England last summer. His last was in the warm-up game against Italy. And as the two presidents shake hands in a very cordial fashion in what was the equivalent of what would be the director's box, the hospitality box if you like, here in St. Petersburg, the French supporters celebrate with a French tricolour flying high, as now Belgium have got to come from behind. We needed, I think, an early goal in this second half, because otherwise the longer it went on it would have just petered out. They'd have been too cautious, not wanting to make a mistake as we would have gone towards extra time. But France strike from a set piece, Umtiti's header beating Courtois, and France are 1-0 up on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Yeah, and even the fact that they are 1-0 up, it wasn't anything sophisticated. Remember, it was Giroud's shot that was blocked, it led to the corner kick, but the quality of the ball in there, it was zipped in at such pace, curling in. Maybe that's what Belgium will be missing. The quality of crosses in hasn't been good enough at this point in time. That definitely opens the game up, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant, I would imagine, the last 30 odd minutes.
The last, or the previous meeting between these two was back in 2015. It was France 3, Belgium 4. We haven't had anywhere near the amount of goals as Matuidi has caught their left corner of the penalty area. But it has been an intriguing tactical battle. But first blood is to the blue shirts of France, and now they've got a free kick left corner of the penalty area, and Belgium now are going to have to be careful because they don't want to concede two quick goals.
Just looking up at the corner of the box there, Mick Jagger here, I don't know what that tells us, but everybody's here tonight. Very dangerous area now, they've got it. Mbappe's come over. I think he maybe will be favourite in this sort of position to put it in. But in that they've scored from the last set piece, they're going to be really worried about that, those Belgian fans behind the other goal.
So France are playing from right to left. They're leading by a goal to nil in this semi-final. Mbappe's now walking away, so he's going to leave it towards Griezmann. Didier Deschamps has just got some instructions across towards Griezmann. Surprised he could actually hear him in the din here in St. Petersburg, but he just looked behind him over his left shoulder. There's a line of red. It's a two-man wall, Lukaku and Chadli, so that'll protect the near post for Courtois. Griezmann, in it goes now, comes off the head of Kompany back into the penalty area. It remains, and then it's cleared away by Chadli. Hazard was caught, and the referee says, yeah, that'll be a free kick, and Hernandez will just drag that ball away, preventing it from being taken too quickly for Belgium as Hazard's quickly back to his feet.
I think they're furious at the fact that Hazard was fouled out. It was a really clever foul there. The referee obviously is keeping his hand in his pocket, not getting the yellow cards out just now. Understandable, it's a semi-final of a World Cup. I think the Belgians are unhappy with that, because that was a good break it was on.
France, who have now failed to score just once in their last 15 games, and that was in that dead rubber against Denmark earlier in the competition. They're 1-0 up, and now the onus is on Roberto Martinez, whose side came from 2-0 down to beat Japan, remember, in the last 16. They were impressive in beating Brazil in the quarter-finals. And as Kelly had said at half-time, only one World Cup semi-final has ever ended goalless, and that was in the last World Cup, Holland-Argentina in Brazil in 2014. This time tomorrow, we'll be enjoying the coverage of England-Croatia, if of course you can enjoy it, if you are of an English persuasion, with such will be the nerves. Our build-up starts from 4 o'clock with Mark Chapman inside the Luzhniki. Who will be back at the Luzhniki on Sunday? France, at the moment, lead by a goal to nil as they break. Pogba out towards Mbappe, and Mbappe's away, and he crosses the ball now to Matuidi. Matuidi outside the penalty area. Good block comes in from Alderweireld. The French bench were very quick to ready to celebrate, because that looked like it could have been a good break. Oh, nice little flick by Mbappe. Giroud can't get it goalwards. Giroud actually prevents Courtois from getting there to head the ball away from the goalkeeper, and it's turned behind for a throw.
Oh, by the way, what about the touch for Mbappe there? By miles the best touch of the game so far. Little backflip, you didn't think he knew where he was, and he managed to find his teammate right inside the box. That is absolutely gorgeous from Mbappe.
The tails are up for the French. Varane out to Pavard, he's got a little bit of space, he's level the penalty area right hand side. Mbappe wants it to feet, Fellaini's gone with him. Out of the penalty area he goes, down towards the corner flag on the far side, where France lead by a goal to nil. Mbappe's away from Fellaini, Mbappe's into the penalty area, Fellaini dives in and the ball goes behind, but it's gone out for a goal kick.
Well, I think the assistant referee would change his mind about 3 times there when he was flagging towards it, but a little dummy there from Mbappe. At the first occasion he laid on the chance, but then he gets a 1-on-1 with Fellaini. There's no question who's going to win that. That's not even considered. But the second touch, once he went by the player, we're just in a little replay of his back heel. Utter genius, totally brilliant, and by some distance the best touch of the game so far.
12 minutes into the second half, France have a slender lead. Alderweireld over the halfway line, playing from left to right as we look. Chadli infield now to Witsel, just outside the centre circle. France have everybody back behind the ball. Kompany now with it, just outside the centre circle, goes square. Alderweireld, Chadli provides the width. Alderweireld will run forward and lets one fly off his right foot, and it skies away and out for a goal kick.
Well, what's the point of that? I mean, your centre back comes up, he's 35 yards out, he's in a really good position to actually go and put the ball into the back post when you've got Fellaini there and Lukaku there. And he doesn't do it. That would drive you nuts. We've watched this about 6 or 7 times. So what's your thoughts? Do you think Fellaini gets a wee touch on that?
He does get a touch.
It's not his goal though. No, it's not his goal. It's Umtiti's goal, 100%, because it was going towards the goal.
Although if you've got hair like that, it was always going to get a touch off the bushy hair of Fellaini.
Even if you were 10 yards away from it, correct.
It's not that I'd have ever such a problem like that. Oh, I wish. Here is Griezmann coming forward. France are 1-0 up. Griezmann runs out towards the right touchline. Sweet little back heel to Mbappe. Plays it back towards Griezmann, who rolls it now to Pavard. Short diagonal ball. Another little flick there by Mbappe. The confidence is certainly high for the the French side as Kante spreads it out towards Hernandez, just takes it on the turn off his chest and able to come forward now midway through the Belgium half. And as De Bruyne goes towards him, Kante strokes it back to the goal scorer, Umtiti, plays it towards Kante. Interception from Chadli, was it? Nearly, just couldn't nick it past a sliding Hernandez. Out of play, it goes for a throw. 1-0 France. We've been playing for just short of an hour.
You know, been watching this game and we've not talked about Mbappe that much apart from the fact that he's got frightening pace. And he's had 2 or 3 touches in the last 5 or 6 minutes when his confidence is up. And you just begin to wonder, are you playing at 20 or 30% just now? There is actually so much more he can actually bring to this game just now. And you kind of willing him to get on the ball and just have a go as often as he possibly can. And at the moment, you can just see the young man's confidence begin to grow. Remember, he is very, very young, but there is so much more to come for this lad.
Hasn't taken long for Roberto Martinez to make the change since going a goal down, because they're going to make a substitution and it's going to be Dries Mertens who's going to be coming on. He scored the goal against Panama, which seems like an age away, and the replacement is for Dembele. So Dembele has come off the field of play, only his 3rd appearance at these World Cup. And the Napoli player comes on, plenty of experience, 15 goals in his 73 previous caps for Belgium, and they need him to try and provide a creative spark as they look for a way back into the game.
Well, he is a creative player, and for a long time he was the first choice. You know, you would expect him to play from the start, so come on with a bit of confidence and a point to prove as well, because he hasn't been first choice for a little while during this competition.
And already it looks that De Bruyne has dropped a little bit deeper now alongside Witsel, because Mertens is forward on this right-hand side.
And then maybe that the complaint about not getting any crosses in from this right-hand side when you've got big players in there that can attack the ball, and that may well be one of the reasons why he's been brought in there.
Here is Hernandez, forward ball. Tweedy was looking to turn, it breaks down. Lukaku, who's moved out towards the right, gets it back from Hazard, right corner of the penalty area. Lukaku to Mertens on the overlap, clips over the cross. They were waiting, hasn't been dealt with. De Bruyne down into the ground, gathered in by Lloris. Just didn't strike it cleanly enough.
Yeah, he didn't. It's a hard one to take. It's coming right out of the sky. He knows he's got 3 blue shirts running towards him, and that's on his mind far too much there, and he doesn't catch it at all. Hits it into the ground. I say 3 players, there were actually 4 blue shirts and a yellow shirt going towards them, so it would have been tough to score anyway had it been on target.
61 minutes played. Don't forget, you can listen to our commentary alongside the TV coverage. Either press the red button or go onto the BBC Sport website or the app and click on Watch with 5 Live. And tomorrow you'll hear so much from Moscow, starting with Rachel Burden at 6. Throughout the day, Adrian Chiles in between our coverage from Wimbledon, and then from 4, live from inside the Luzhniki, Mark Chapman, Alan Shearer, of course Chris Waddle, Sir Trevor Brooking joining us, Dion Dublin, pitchside, and our correspondent John Murray, ahead of England against Croatia. England's first World Cup semi-final in 28 years, and it might be against France, because France are leading by a goal to 0. That, of course, should England beat Croatia. There is a small matter of overcoming the Croatians first of all. I wasn't getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, I think most England fans should be thinking, let's get a Belgian equaliser here, because any help you can get, the better. And both of these teams going to extra time would certainly help England's cause.
Chadli will try and win a corner kick and succeeds against Hernandez down on this near side. There are 3 separate chunks of Belgian support, mainly wearing all red. There is the odd yellow shirt in amongst them as well, as they look for an equaliser. They've never beaten France in their 2 previous encounters in World Cup matches. As Chadli waits, this should be an out-swinging corner from the right-hand side. Belgium are trailing by a goal to 0. Chadli with his right arm aloft, strikes it, in it comes, didn't beat the first man, headed away by Umtiti. Mbappe tried to lay it off. De Bruyne has then given the ball away, but De Bruyne will try and win it back. But Hazard is going to get a yellow card for the foul and pulling back on Matuidi, and indeed he is shown yellow, and that is the first yellow card of the game for the Belgium captain.
100%, it should be a yellow card. And I hate myself for saying it, that is a brilliant yellow card, because they were gone, France were away. Mbappe was halfway down the pitch on the left hand side there, no one was catching him. It would probably have been 3-on-1. Hazard did exactly the right thing, although I hate myself for saying that, because it feels immoral, but it's the right thing for a pro to do.
Chadli turns away from Griezmann. The back pass to Courtois. Just takes one little touch just outside his 6-yard area. Sweeps it away downfield right-footed. Umtiti easily beats Lukaku to that to head it away. De Bruyne's header then headed back into Belgian territory by Hernandez. Brought under control eventually by Hazard. Out towards Chadli on this right-hand side. Back with Alderweireld. 64 minutes have been played live here in St. Petersburg. BBC Radio 5 Live as company comes forward. They've never reached a World Cup final. This is a group of players tagged as the Golden Generation. It's only their second semi-final in their history. Chadli to Hazard. Out towards the substitute. Mertens. Cross comes in. And the goalkeeper, Lloris, somehow dealt with that. Looked like he was going to flab it first time. Another cross this time by Mertens. That's what they've been lacking on the right. That was a devilish ball in.
Yeah, you've got to keep on doing that. It doesn't matter who does it. The quality has to be much better. Immediately he comes in, you can see the liveliness of Lukaku. He wants to go and attack that, as does Fellaini at the back post. They can score in other ways, but that looks the most likely for Belgium.
Mertens once again with another cross. Fellaini with a header, just wide. Excellent delivery once more by Mertens, and Fellaini knows that was close.
How much were we complaining about that in the first half? Chadli getting the ball on the right-hand side, poor quality of crosses in, and you could see Lukaku getting really frustrated, and Fellaini stopped making the runs. As soon as Mertens comes on, or actually as soon as the second half started, much better for that side. It's not complicated, sophisticated football, but it doesn't matter if it works.
Goal kick by Hugo Lloris, who is winning his 103rd cap tonight. That takes him level with Didier Deschamps as the ball is played forward, cut out by Varane. During this tournament he managed to reach the century mark to become only the 6th player to win 100 caps for France, and he's now level with Didier Deschamps, who of course is aiming to become the 3rd manager, or the 3rd man, to be both a successful player at a World Cup, to win the competition, as well as a coach, along with Zagallo and Beckenbauer. And that is still on with a scoreline of France 1, Belgium 0 in the 66th minute here in St. Petersburg on BBC Radio 5 Live. Pavard didn't keep the ball in play over on that far side, and that will be a Belgium throw. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, but this game is definitely not over. You can see that the Belgians have got a little bit left the last few minutes. Just that change, the change not on the system slightly, but the personnel more specifically. They're trying to get the ball to Mertens, but it failed there.
Cut out by Hernandez from De Bruyne's pass. Griezmann almost at a walking pace, then he almost was standing still. Umtiti just takes it away from Lukaku on the edge of the centre circle in the France half to Varane. France are playing from right to left. The ball goes back. This will be dealt with by Lloris. He's just going to put his left foot through this one and strikes it away downfield. Matuidi loses out to Chadli. De Bruyne to Fellaini. Fellaini still goes in search of the ball, and Umtiti bravely comes forward, wins that challenge. Ball though with Alderweireld.
Well done, referee, by the way. 90% referees give a free kick there. Who's right, it wasn't. Well won by Fellaini.
Andreas Cunha is the referee from Uruguay as company's in possession for Belgium. Hazard central just outside the centre circle. Links up with De Bruyne. De Bruyne looking to try and get away from Pogba. Loses the ball, and Mbappe will then skip away from a sliding De Bruyne. And Mbappe's over the halfway line. Mbappe faced by Vertonghen. Switches play out towards Griezmann. Excellent take off an outstretched left foot. Rolls it towards Giroud. And on the edge of the area, hits it first time. Always on the rise. Goal kick. This is 5 Live. And France still lead 1-0.
Just another lovely moment there from Mbappe. It's 50-50, you think, and a ball that he's trying to win from Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne, who is quite quick himself there, he tries really hard to get close. He's swiping it thin air. He can't even get near Mbappe. You cannot stop that guy when he starts.
We're midway through the second half, and France have a slender lead. De Bruyne now, who's very deep as Mertens has come onto the field of play, just goes to the outside of him to Alderweireld. On the right touchline is Chadli, back with the Tottenham Hotspur player. Alderweireld towards Chadli. But France have everybody back behind the ball. Now it's with company. Belgium, around now, were 2-0 down against Japan and still managed to win that last 16 encounter. They've only got to get 1 goal to be level here. That's how tight it is here live in St. Petersburg. De Bruyne scoops it forward. Chadli's made the run. Loses out to Matuidi, stretches into the challenge. Griezmann helps out, seems to be caught there by Mertens. Referee says, yeah, that will be a free kick on the corner of their own penalty area.
Again, they're a bit sluggish about getting the ball into the box. It's quite noticeable when they go on the right hand side, when you know that's exactly what the Belgians are trying to do. Widen the park, get it onto the wide player. It doesn't matter if it's Charlie or Mertens or even Kevin De Bruyne. Get the ball wide there and get it in. I'm not over impressed with Lukaku's movement though. He finds himself static at the near post. If the ball is wide there, get yourself towards the back post alongside Fellaini so that he can go and attack it. At the moment, if I'm a right winger there, I've only got one player to aim at, so he's got to maybe give himself something else that he can go and run onto.
The goal that was scored that originated from a corner, that's now 26 goals from corners at this World Cup. It's the most since 1966. Imagine somewhere, whether you're listening to 5 Live in a car thinking, oh, 66, it could be another omen. There are so many. Anyway, tomorrow, all the coverage, England against Croatia throughout the day, 5 Live. But this is the first semi-final, and France are leading by 1-0 as Alderweireld to company in the centre circle. Fellaini's drifted out towards that far side, the left. Vertonghen, and here is Fellaini now, just stroking the ball back again. The pace is quite a gentle one from Belgium, trying to prise open this French team who are just dropping off at the moment. De Bruyne able to turn, accelerates, slips it back out towards the left. Fellaini, can he work over the cross? Support comes from Hazard, left corner of the penalty area, infield. Witsel, 35 yards out from goal, goes infield. Alderweireld, they switched it out now towards the right. Mertens with an excellent ball in, looking towards Fellaini, over the head of Lukaku and Fellaini. Retrieved on the far side by Hazard. 2 players go with a Chelsea player. Back then towards Vertonghen. Time to measure in the cross. In it comes now. Headed away by Varane. Picked up by Alderweireld. And Giroud back there helping out for the team. Prevents it from going behind. Out of play it goes for a throw. They take it quickly. Alderweireld. De Bruyne with the cross. Another good ball in. Headed away this time by Pogba. In front of Lloris. Back towards De Bruyne. Can't roll it out towards the right. There could be a break on here. Matuidi, was he clipped by Alderweireld? Yes, I think he was. And it's going to be another yellow card.
100% correct again once the referees. He's got very, very few decisions wrong. Maybe he's been a little bit light in 1 or 2 players. That's not a bad thing in a semi-final, but that time utterly cynical for Alderweireld. Knew exactly what he was doing there, stopped the breakaway, and that's the problem that Belgium are going to have now, because they have to push on a little bit. They're throwing slightly too many players or more players forward than they would like, considering you've got that pace, particularly of Mbappe against you. But those crosses in the last 3 or 4 minutes, much, much better. Begs the question, why didn't they have Mertens on earlier?
Well, Roberto Martinez watches on. Giroud tries to take it into the penalty area from the knockdown by Griezmann, offside on that far side. Talked about Thierry Henry, record goal scorer for France, also in the coaching setup. Graham Jones, who's just been barking out the orders down there. He was with Roberto Martinez at Wigan.
Just seen one of the worst pieces of play I've seen in the competition so far. Alderweireld gets the ball in his own box, a free kick, and passes it to his own keeper. I mean, that's not allowed. You have to play it out. The referee told me to take it again.
So we've got 19 minutes remaining, in fact just under 19 minutes, and Belgium need to try and find an equaliser. Mertens infield. De Bruyne gives it back. Mertens back towards De Bruyne. Midway through the France half, Alderweireld to Witsel. Witsel wants Vertonghen to go on ahead of him. He tries to usher him on with a little swish of his left hand. Fellaini, but they're playing in front of France at the moment, are these Red Devils of Belgium. Ball played forward, Lukaku with a layoff. Mertens tries to hit it first time. Hazard can't get there. Clearance by Umtiti, who's gone down now holding his face.
Maybe the ball bounced up and happened a little bit there. And what they're trying to do just now is they're trying to manoeuvre the ball about, side to side, the Belgians, so that they create a little bit of tiredness in that French defence there. Yeah, smashed the face there by a pass, nothing else wrong with that. Totally undeliberate there by Mertens, but they're trying to move them side to side so that eventually when it comes back over to the right hand side, you've got, in this case it was De Bruyne who stayed really wide, and he can maybe get half a yard or more than that to put a dangerous cross in. But they're really working incredibly hard, this French team. As we watch them just now, they've all gone into a huddle, or the vast majority of them have gone into a huddle saying, we've got to work. There's only like 20 odd minutes if you take injury time into account as well, to make sure there are no spaces. They don't slow down, they don't switch off for a second, because if they switch off at any point in time now, Lukaku will be in there, or Fellaini will be in there, or Hazard will be in there. So far they've kept him fairly quiet in this second half.
Well, Belgium scored 43 goals in qualifying. They were one of the highest with Germany from the European section to reach Russia and these World Cup finals. They have a record of scoring to Belgium. They've only failed to score one in their last 24. Roberto Martinez, as he stands watching at the corner of his technical area with his arms folded, needs to try and hope that his players can come up with an answer in the remaining 16 minutes, because France are leading by a goal to nil. Lukaku lays it off towards Hazard, being tracked by Pogba. Turns one way and then the other. Goes back inside from that left touchline. Witsel to Mertens with his back to goal. And Titi forces him away from the penalty area. Alderweireld looks for a ball over the top towards Chadli. Chadli on the right hand side. Early ball low by De Bruyne. Stopped by Hernandez. Witsel goes in for the challenge. And the referee eventually gives a free kick. He just caught Griezmann there. He'll get away without a yellow card.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Witsel's probably hit more people deliberate in this tournament than anyone else I've seen. I'm not sure that was fully deliberate there. I shall have seen it in slow motion. I shall change my mind on that. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's probably quite lucky not to get another yellow card. But at the moment it's really hard for Belgium, because the way the French have played, they manage games so incredibly well, and that's what we've talked about through this tournament with the French. And when they lose the ball now, they're a 5-4-1, and quite often you'll find Matuidi is almost at a left back position. Very, very hard. Not only create chances, to actually get decent crosses in now for the Belgians.
Umtiti, the goal scorer, goes long from a free kick. There is actually another foul. It'll be a Belgian free kick that they take quickly with 15 minutes remaining. Belgium were probably the better side in the opening quarter of the game, but they don't necessarily seem to have the same level of ideas or creativity as they possessed then as they do now. Mertens has made a bit of a difference from the right-hand side with some crosses, but they haven't necessarily tested Lloris as much, and at the moment they continue still to play in front of the blue shirts of France. Here is Hazard. He's midway through the France half. He looks to get away from Kante. He finds De Bruyne. De Bruyne can't get his range. Left-footed shot well off target. Goal kick. France still lead 1-0.
Once again, great work there done by, well, two players. Pogba closing down the space, but much more so in N'Golo Kante. He didn't let his teammate Eden Hazard get away from him, and even when Hazard passes it to De Bruyne, there goes Kante again, closing him down. Honestly, it is like having 12 men on the field. It really is. We've said it 100 times before. His time at Leicester and his time at Chelsea, well, it's exactly the same with France.
Ubiquitous Kante in the midfield for France, certainly as always making his presence felt. Little flick by Hazard for Fellaini on that far side, just to whet the appetite ahead of tomorrow. After this game, a special programme, providing you're old enough of course, with Gary Lineker, Jurgen Klinsmann and Chris Waddle, to relive England's last World Cup semi-final back in 1990. And I'm sure a rather more tuneful World in Motion might well be played at some stage as Alderweireld comes forward. Belgium going to be making a change very, very soon. Mertens with a cross, swinging and curling out of play and out for a goal kick.
Slightly panicked there though. I mean, where they're getting their opportunities to put the ball in is actually Alderweireld. Is getting the ball quite often on the right hand side here. He doesn't seem confident enough to put that ball in there, so he's passing it out wide. It's going to the likes of Mertens, but Mertens is closed down too quickly and he's been rushed into his passes. In the end, it's going to have to be Alderweireld. You're going to have to take a chance, mate. You're going to have to step forward and you're going to have to put the crosses in yourself.
Carrasco getting some final instructions there by Thierry Henry. He'll be the player coming on, Yannick Carrasco. He's played in 3 of the 5 games so far as Alderweireld all clear for Belgium, but time is running out now for Belgium. Still trailing by a goal to nil. They really haven't tested Lloris enough in this second half. The game management of France has been top-notch. Pogba outside the centre circle. He'll be kept alive by Mbappe over on that far side. Pavard goes on ahead of him, the right back. Pogba wanders across too. He looks so confident and still very, very cool and collected out there in the blue to the French is Mbappe. Little flick there by Pavard, and Mbappe goes down as he was running with Fellaini. That'll be a free kick to France, and maybe lucky that Fellaini wasn't shown a yellow card.
No, I agree with you there. If he has dragged him back there, and he seemed to do so, because there was no, once again as usual, he has dragged him back. He's got a hold of his shirt there, not getting a lot of it, but enough. Well, kept on doing it. It was a fully fledged tug. He should have been yellow carded there. Fellaini.
12 minutes remain.
They've just not built up a head of steam, have they? They've tried to, but the marking and defensive organisation of the French has been absolutely impeccable in this half.
Griezmann's going to take the free kick, about 10 yards in from the right touchline on that far side, playing from right to left as we look. In it comes now to the penalty area, and the flick by Pogba, and his header drops off target now for a goal kick. They just haven't had that same level of verve as they had in that spell in the first half.
No, they haven't, and I think it's because I think the French have figured them out to some degree. So Robbie Martinez has tried to change it a couple of times. He's moved players around a bit, taking De Bruyne a little bit further back. Said to Mertens, go out wide and get the ball in the middle as soon as you can. The French have had quick answers to that each time, and at the moment they're not dominating possession, but they dominate control of how the game's being played. Still not finished though. I think the Belgians will get a chance.
Hazard running forward now at pace, links up with Lukaku. Hazard outside the penalty area, tripped by Giroud. Referee says no free kick. Giroud then tells his Chelsea teammate he's angry. You get back onto your feet. He's not happy at all, Olivier Giroud. De Bruyne then plays it forward. To the naked eye, it looked like it was a foul.
It did. The referee's very, very close. And of course, we have to remember, Hazard has already been booked. He's on a yellow card. And if the referee think that's a dive, to be honest, that's a free kick. Every day of the week, that's a free kick. The referee's got that one massively wrong.
Now the change is going to be made, and Fellaini is going to be coming off, but Giroud was just too late there. It was a clear free kick.
I mean, it's not deliberate. He's tried to get there as quick as he can, but he's left his leg in there, and that would have been a free kick about 19-20 yards out. And I know that the Belgians would have loved that opportunity.
So Yannick Carrasco has come on to the field of play. Fellaini is the player who's gone off. At the moment you've got Mertens on the right, Lukaku central, Hazard to the left, De Bruyne's deep, Carrasco and Witsel also in the midfield. Chadley's still on the right hand side as Giroud back towards Kante, nicely played by France. Then they actually give the ball away. Witsel under pressure, turns away from Giroud, snapping at his heels, pulling his shirt. He shows his strength and finds company. Witsel goes down off the ball. Under 10 minutes remaining, just the one goal in this semi-final so far, and it's gone to the French. Runners up, of course, 2 years ago at Euro 2016 as Hazard links up with Lukaku. Challenge comes to Witsel. Fantastic effort, fired one in. Lloris makes the save. That was like a bullet as Belgium go for it, and that was Matuidi going in for a challenge, and the two players have stayed down. Hazard and Matuidi have both gone down for a 50-50 challenge, and the referee's going to stop play. They both felt that.
Yeah, that was a real... And both of them were off balance, and both of them went at it 100%, so the referee's actually right to stop that. They took a lot of pain anyway. Good save by the goalkeeper on that occasion, but to be fair, had Lloris not saved that, you would say that was poor goalkeeping. So, had to do his job, did his job, punched it wide. It was a half a chance, really, but maybe you could argue it actually fell to the wrong man.
It was a whistler from Witsel, but Lloris once again proving his worth in goal.
I think Hazard's actually, his hip was going into Matuidi's side, right into Matuidi's ribs, and I suspect, I think if it was me in the end of that, I'd want to be Hazard, because your hip going into somebody else's ribs, the ribs will be very, very sore. The pace they went into that tackle. They were both absolutely dedicated to winning that ball there. Well, Stretcher's coming on, but will it be used?
Hazard is up on his feet. He's just been walked to the touchline, albeit gingerly, but Matuidi is still down, and the stretcher has been carried onto the pitch down there as well, because it really was a 50-50 thunderous challenge between the two.
An absolute wipeout, total wipeout. A lot of pain there. I mean, the least possible, he got winded. The very least possible, and the most possible, you could have damaged some ribs quite badly there. So he's got up, as you say, very gingerly. He's trying to walk. He doesn't want to go on that stretcher.
The French supporters are doing what's known as the Poznan, where they turn back to their action, link up with the shoulders and jump up and down in unison. The tricolour, the red, the white and the blue, as France are edging ever closer towards a third World Cup final. And a shaken Matuidi, good to see him on his feet, but I don't think he's going to be able to continue, because they're not going to take any chances, and instead we're going to see the former Stoke City and Blackburn midfielder now at Sevilla, the rangy 6'4" Steven Nzonzi, who's going to be coming on for his 4th appearance of these World Cup finals with 7 minutes of normal time remaining. France 1, Belgium 0. Hazard's okay to continue. Matuidi comes back onto the pitch as well, but the piece of paper has been handed.
It won't be him. It won't be Matuidi that goes off. I mean, I think they'll want to keep that defensive shape really well. So, I'm looking at numbers there.
It's Olivier Giroud.
Yeah, I'm not actually slightly surprised, but they can put Mbappe up front, can't they? He can go and run into the spaces, keep 2 players tied up. Clever play there by Deschamps.
Olivier Giroud still yet to have a goal at this World Cup as Mertens tries to wriggle away from Hernandez, but can't get away from the Atletico Madrid defender, and out of play it goes for a goal kick to France.
You're watching it, the way they're playing it just now, the tactics have been superb. I would actually call France a very grown-up team. It's the maturity that they've got about their play. Every team that I've watched in this competition so far, you can see where the weaknesses are. It's really difficult to see where the weaknesses are in this French team just now. Really difficult to see them. And now you bring on Nzonzi, powerhouse in that midfield. You can either ask, Mbappe or Griezmann to play up front, and they will keep at least 2, sometimes 3 Belgian defenders occupied. Really tough ask now for the Belgians to beat that wall of blue that's going to be in front of them.
Maths wasn't my strongest subject at school, but I reckon it's 8 hours and 16 minutes of international football for Olivier Giroud without a goal. How Belgium could do with a goal. And the equation is quite simple. They need one in 5 minutes of normal time remaining, as Matuidi is down again, and there is an annoyance and frustration inside this crowd of over 64,000 here in St. Petersburg, because they believe that the French are time wasting.
Well, it's gone in for, it's that tackle. He seems to be still suffering a lot bit from it, and to be fair, he's got to come off now. If he can't stand up after about a minute of that, you've got to make a change, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made the change now.
They are. Tolisso, who started the last game when Matuidi was suspended, is going to come on.
Again, I think that's clever play by the French. They could have made that change right away. They didn't, because they knew it would kill more time. If they stuck Matuidi on for another 30 seconds or a minute, made the initial change, they've now made another one. They've killed another 3 minutes of time, and there's only just over 4 minutes of normal time to go just now. So, they took a chance there. I'll tell you what, he's hobbling, he's suffering now.
It hasn't been the spectacle that we hoped it would be. It was intriguing in the first half, but the second half has never ignited, Pat.
Yeah, but that's because, they scored the goal and they've just shut up shop. They've worked really hard. They've been incredibly hard to beat. They've got great pace and great physicality about them, but great understanding of each other's position. And for all the fact that the French do laugh at Deschamps as a coach, he's done a good job tonight.
Chadli, get away from Tolisso. It's a left-footed cross towards the far post. Varane climbs high to head it away. Mbappe with a flick on the edge of his penalty area. Company will get there first for Belgium in the red, playing from left to right. Witsel to Hazard. 3.5 minutes of normal time remaining. Out towards that far side for the bearded Carrasco. Tries to get away from Mbappe. He's helped out by Kante. It rolls away from him, and there is Mbappe. He's stopped. And now Belgium can come forward. It's with Hazard. Caught, was he by Kante? Yes, he was. Free kick. It's going to be a yellow card for N'Golo Kante.
A wee bit harsher than Kante there, and I think he was just trying his best to keep as close as he possibly could there to Eden Hazard. I'm sure they've had that competition a few times in the training ground. Actually, it's maybe a free kick, but not a lot more than that. I think he's hard done to there. However, dangerous position, 35 yards out on an angle, but then again, any position with Kevin De Bruyne with the ball at his right foot, it's going to be very, very dangerous.
There is an expectation inside this stadium that something could happen here with this free kick from De Bruyne. Those who are wanting extra time need it to happen here from De Bruyne. Time is running out for Belgium's golden generation. De Bruyne, 30 yards from goal, fractionally left of centre. Runs up now, right-footed, into the penalty area, headed away by Tolisso, comes back in, played back by Chadli, blocked by Pavard, and Mbappe inside the penalty area will hook it away.
We just needed to get a little bit lucky there. The ball could have gone absolutely in. It could have fallen to a red shirt instead of a blue. It was blue and they were safe.
De Bruyne towards Lukaku. It was a flat ball with a trajectory, just lifted forward on the diagonal, and Lukaku just couldn't get the telling touch inside the penalty area.
There's been a couple of occasions, haven't there, in the game. There was one in the first half, you know, where the ball come up and actually hit Lukaku in the head just a half a yard away from it. He didn't really make a big attempt to go and chase onto it there, but I think the chance before that where the ball ricocheted off a blue shirt there, and instead of falling to Lukaku, it went just behind him. On another day, those who fall to Lukaku, they're just falling behind him there.
You were full of praise for Lukaku against Brazil in the quarter-final, but in comparison, he's been much more subdued tonight.
I think it's the Lukaku from his Everton days that we're seeing a lot more tonight. But then again, he's up against quality defenders, and he's had very, very limited service as well. So, you know, it's not always the player; it's sometimes the situation. And at the moment, he's looking very frustrated out there. He really hasn't had a clear-cut chance.
We're into the last 60 seconds of normal time. France lead by 1-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Mertens goes back towards De Bruyne. De Bruyne then to Alderweireld, who brought out an excellent save by Lloris in the first half. Here is Chadli. They need to get the ball into the penalty area. He's shown too much towards that. And Tolisso makes the challenge, and then he claps his hands as if to say, come on, just keep on going. An opportunity maybe to make amends for when they fluffed their lines when they were the hosts of Euro 2016. They were fancied ahead of the tournament, and they are now a matter of minutes away from reaching the final on Sunday, are the French, who lead by 1-0.
Yeah, and maybe the question marks, yeah, when they've had to go to certain other players, the quality hasn't been there. Chadli hasn't got nearly good enough crosses in, and he's had plenty of occasions to do it, and he hasn't given his centre forward any chances.
Here is Griezmann on the break right hand side, and he's going to carry the ball down towards the corner flag. Then he turns and plays it back, and Zonzi infield. Pogba and Mbappé's made the run off the shoulder of company. They go back towards the centre circle and will build again. 6 minutes of added on time, and we're now into those additional 6 minutes on BBC Radio 5 Live, where France lead Belgium by 1-0. Challenged by Chadli on Pogba, gives away a free kick to the French just in from the left touchline.
But having said that, Pogba's lying down there on the ground, and I would book him, because he was lying down the ground to throw the ball away to kill a little bit more time. And doesn't matter what situation is, not allowed to throw the ball away. But 6 minutes, I wonder how much actual football we'll get to see played in that 6 minutes. Another substitution by the Belgians,
and it's going to be Batshuayi who's going to come on. He replaces Nacer Chadli. One final throw, desperate attempt by Roberto Martinez to try and get Belgium still in this tie and to force it towards extra time. So Nacer Chadli makes way for Batshuayi. They started with 9 Premier League players in their 11 tonight, did Belgium. 4 Premier League players in the starting 11 for France, whose supporters are jumping up and down in unison behind that goal away to our left-hand side. And Pat says, how much football will we see in these additional 6 minutes? We've already had the first 60 seconds, and the answer to that is very little, as the free kick is taken short, and De Bruyne will take the ball away from Mbappé. He'll keep the ball in play. Oh no, the assistant on this near side has raised his flag. It'll be a French throw.
I have to say, I didn't think that went out there. I'm slightly surprised at that. Did the entire ball go out? I absolutely do not believe it did. I would say about 80% of the ball went out, but part of it was still on the line.
Mbappé down by the corner flag for France. Out of play it will go. It'll be a Belgium throw. It's their 6th World Cup semi-final.
Mbappe's throwing the ball away now. He's got a yellow card, Mbappé. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. He should have done it earlier. It's the referee's fault there. He allowed it to go before when it was thrown away by Pogba. And he was a little bit too lenient there. So Mbappe's done exactly the same thing. Correct a yellow card and should have done it earlier.
Blatant. Absolutely blatant. Taking liberties.
I mean, there's no foot, but we've played here about 2.5 minutes or so.
Yeah, 2 minutes of added on time.
How many touches of the ball have you seen? About 10?
Pogba able to turn. He's going to play in Griezmann. Griezmann can finish it here. Saved by Courtois. Full stretch away to his right. Made the save. 1-0 to France in added time here in St. Petersburg.
We just wonder if they can fashion one chance. They've had so few in the second half. Plenty of the ball, Belgium. Loads and loads of the ball. A couple of chances to get crosses in. Nothing through the middle at all. But they've got 2 centre forwards up there. Can they get a dangerous ball in? They haven't looked like it.
And they've lost it. And they're now open to the counter-attack. Mbappé, he's got Tolisso ahead of him. Here is Tolisso just outside the penalty area, back to Mbappé. Mbappé stopped by company. Again, the French bench were up and ready to celebrate. Can, as Pat Nevin says, they fashion one last chance as time ticks away. 3 minutes of added on time. BBC Radio 5 Live. Tomorrow you'll have all the drama of England against Croatia as Belgium look for a late equaliser. Out towards De Bruyne. De Bruyne now comes forward, crosses into the penalty area. The header from Varane, and then Varane will pick up that loose ball and releases it out towards Mbappe. And Mbappe's up against Vertonghen. He keeps the ball in play, and behind him the support is provided by Nzonzi, and then Mbappe has gone down again holding his face, and this is the type of antics that we've seen in this tournament up against Vertonghen.
We've not seen a replay yet. Do you think he's actually getting hit in the face there?
No.
No, boy.
Vertonghen's shown a yellow card.
Yeah, he's put his body up against him, but the rolling about as if he's been punched in the face. It's so disappointing here. I mean, absolutely no excuse. It's a wee bit sickening. So I've been talking about how great Mbappe is, etc., but we have to be upfront about it and say we hope it grows out of that.
For all the talent that Belgium possess, though, they haven't done enough in this second half.
They haven't, no, to be honest. In the Brazil game, every player in Belgium played about 90% of their capabilities or more, including Lukaku, including Hazard, including De Bruyne. It's not been the case tonight. It has been a long way from that. But another reason for it is because they're playing against a different style and a different system. And you've got to say the game management has been magnificent so far from the French. I keep on saying so far, but they don't look as if they're going to lose a goal now.
Varane has been superb at the back. He's just won another aerial duel as Griezmann runs over towards the right-hand side with Mbappe. Goes out of play for a throw. We're about to enter the last 60 seconds of added on time here in St. Petersburg. France 1, Belgium 0. Pavard is going to take the throw over on that far side, and Titi's goal is the difference from the corner. 6 minutes into the second half. They're in no real hurry to take it. Pogba hooks it on, gets it back from Griezmann. He's coming forward, is Pogba. It's to Tolisso. Tolisso in the penalty area. Good save by Courtois down to his left. Turns it low behind for a corner kick as France still lead by a goal to nil.
Yeah, and the French bested out, jumping about, hoping that would have been finalised there, but I don't think they're in any great danger. The Belgians have made very, very few chances in the second half. There's not been enough imagination, and the players such as Eden Hazard or De Bruyne, who you expect to be able to create something, even they, with their phenomenal ability, haven't been able to break down that back line. And Varane has been amazing. Pogba hasn't done anything incredibly special other than just covered the areas, and Kante has been N'Golo Kante, as I say, very, very grown-up, mature performance from this team.
By my watch, the minimum of 6 minutes has now been used as they take it short and keep the ball down in the corner flag on that far side. It's now a question of how much Andreas Cunha, the Uruguayan referee, wants to add on. Belgium, you tell them to hurry up with it, but they've got to strike it long. There is no time. Belgium's golden generation are unable to shine in their first semi-final in 32 years. As the French celebrate reaching their third World Cup final, and France will be the overwhelming favourites for Sunday's final. They've beaten Belgium by a goal to nil.
They have done, and I have to say it's deserved, and it's going to sound really, really strange when you consider the Belgians had 64% of the possession, 64%, and I'm saying the French deserve to win, but they did because of the maturity of the performance, the understanding. When they got that goal, they knew how to kill this game, they knew how to defend, they knew how to work together, and with brilliant players such as Nkante in that central area there, making sure any time that De Bruyne got the ball, that Hazard got the ball, that they were snuffed out. For all that possession, I actually didn't think at any point in that second half that the Belgians were going to score a goal. All they had was a ball lumped in from the right hand side generally to the back post for either Fellaini or Lukaku. It was a hit and hope, no more than that. This French side are good, and boy, they're getting better.
And a wistful look from Thierry Henry as he has a handshake with each of the Belgian players. Of course, he's part of the Belgian coaching staff, but as he just looked there to his left, he saw his fellow countrymen celebrating off the bench. Didier Deschamps, who's just gone to shake the hand of Roberto Martinez, because it is France who have won their third successive World Cup semi-final, as they did in '98 and 2006, and they will be at the Luzhniki for a World Cup final against either England or Croatia. Kelly.
Ian, thank you very much. Ian Dennis and Pat Nevin with us until 9:30 here on 5 Live Sport as we react to that 1-0 win for France against Belgium in this World Cup semi-final. Was it a professional rather than an exciting performance from France, Martin Keown?
It never really quite lived up to the billing, and it was been a World Cup that just keeps giving, and we thought there was going to be extra time tonight. That's what I was planning for. And there was one pass just at the end of the game. I was looking at Dion Dublin opposite me, and I thought he certainly would have scored. De Bruyne plays a most ridiculous pass. It's a driven pass, crossfield pass, with pace on it, and it's flat, and it comes across, and it's as if time stands still, and Lukaku looks at it as if, what am I supposed to do with this? When he should have just thrown himself at it, and they'd have been back in the game. But all credit to France, for they were remarkably professional. The way that they played the game, they seemed to manage it and just do enough in the match. Pogba coming back quite often defensively was difficult for them because they were putting lots of balls in the box. Lukaku, though, you can see he hasn't quite got what it takes to play in a World Cup final. But I mean, fair play to Belgium, been magnificent in the tournament, but France look a class apart.
Yeah, I just think that France they just got it right tonight. Their organisation was good. As you said, Martin, their shape out of play and their shape in play stayed the same throughout the whole of the match. Their concentration was good. They created chances. Griezmann and Pogba were all over the pitch, controlled the midfield. For me, we know De Bruyne picked out some great passes, but if your teammate's not on the same wavelength as you are, you're going to make a pass and there's not going to be anything on the end of it. And I think a couple of times that's what happened to Belgium tonight.
Do you know, I think defensively we talk an awful lot about Ramos at Real Madrid, but it was his defensive partner Veron tonight he was majestic. I mean, he put the burners on when he needed to, balls into the channel, everything in the air. He was colossal at the back of that defence, and he looked like he was doing it in his own back garden. He looked so casual, so calm. It was easy for him. He's got more gears to go into. I don't know if anyone's going to really test him in this World Cup final. We'll have to wait and see who's going to join France now in the final,
which we will find out tomorrow night. 7 o'clock kickoff between England and Croatia for a chance to play France in the final of the World Cup. That one is Sunday, July the 15th. It is a 4 o'clock kickoff in the UK. Ian Dennis and Pat Nevin are inside the stadium in St Petersburg, where France are celebrating their win against Belgium. Deno, we heard from Christophe Terra, the Belgian football journalist, a little bit earlier. He said, look, as far as Belgium are concerned, this is as far as we think we could have got. Anything else after this would be a bonus. And certainly while the France players have been celebrating, the Belgian players don't look as devastated as we've seen some players at the final whistle.
Well, in fact, Marouane Fellaini is one of the last players, along with Thomas Vermaelen on the bench. I think Chadley's also down there. Courtois got, I think, his daughter in his arms as I look away to my right, and they are actually being applauded by the Belgian support, because they're quite strong section down towards our right-hand side, which would reinforce that. But I just think with the quality that they've got, the way that they applied themselves against Brazil, particularly in the first half, where they led 2-0 against Brazil before the fight back from the Brazilians in the quarter-final, I just can't help feel disappointed that they weren't able to reproduce a similar level of performance, because we know that they've got the quality.
More from Ian Dennis, from Pat Nevin and from Dion Dublin in the next half an hour as we continue to reflect on that 1-0 win for France against Belgium in the World Cup semi-final. They will be in the final on Sunday, but will it be England or will it be Croatia? That match tomorrow night here in Moscow, 7 o'clock kickoff, all the build-up all day on 5 Live Sport. Martin Keown, we're going to say thank you very much for you. You can head off to Nikolskaya, the Street of Lights, and go and start partying away with the England fans who are already here in Moscow.
It's an early night for me, Kelly. Big game tomorrow. Got to prepare as I did as a player.
Sip to win, Martin. Sip to win.
Shoot to win.
Thank you very much to Martin Keown. More reaction to this game, more previewing of England against Croatia to come after the BBC News with Richard Foster.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
As you've been hearing, France have become the first country to reach this year's World Cup final in Russia. They beat Belgium by 1-0 and would play either England or Croatia in Moscow on Sunday. You can hear England's match here on 5 Live tomorrow night. The Thai Navy has confirmed that all of the junior football team and their coach, who were trapped in a cave in Thailand for more than 2 weeks, have now been rescued. 12 boys and an adult were brought to safety by a team of divers from around the world. Norporn Wong Annan is the editor of the BBC's Thai service.
Looks like the god of luck is on their side. The first time when they were found, it was the fact that one of the divers was running out of his rope and he emerged from the water and he saw the boys were looking at him. Who would imagine if he had long enough rope to go along, he would have missed completely these boys.
A man who was exposed to nerve agent in Wiltshire is conscious again. Charlie Rowley has been in hospital since becoming ill in Amesbury on the 30th of June. Salisbury District Hospital say it's a small but significant improvement. Maria Caulfield has been explaining why the Cabinet's Brexit agreement means that she's resigning as Vice Chair of the Conservative Party.
For me, the deal that's on the table isn't actually the deal we're going to end up with, because we're sending this deal to the EU, who may well water it down further. And so when I stood for election last year, I promised people I'd get the best possible deal, whether they voted leave or remain, for the country. And for me, this just doesn't do that.
She's one of 2 vice chairs to quit. The other is Ben Bradley. Theresa May's again defended the plans, saying they'll allow for a smooth and orderly Brexit, protecting jobs and livelihoods. A female prison worker has been arrested on drugs offences in Greater Manchester. She's being held on suspicion of possession with intent to supply and misconduct in a public office. The woman works at HMP Hindley in Wigan. And the boyfriend of the late Love Island star Sophie Graydon is reported to have been found dead at a house in Northumberland. Police say the body of a 25-year-old man was discovered in Blythe. Sophie Graydon died last month, aged 32.
In this evening's sports headlines away from the World Cup, Manchester City have just tweeted that Riyad Mahrez has joined the club from Leicester City. We'll have more on that throughout the evening. Cristiano Ronaldo elsewhere says the time has come to open a new stage in my life. The 5-time Ballon d'Or winner has joined Juventus from Real Madrid for £99 million. Depending on the exchange rate. Celtic have taken a 3-0 lead after the first leg of their Champions League first qualifying round tie against the Armenian club Alashkert. England's women have won the ODI series against New Zealand after a 123-run victory at Derby. Serena Williams beat Camilla Giorgi in 3 sets to reach the Wimbledon semi-finals. She'll play 13th seed Julia Georges next. It'll be Angelique Kerber versus Yelena Ostapenko in the other semi. Colombia's Fernando Gaviria won Stage 4 of the Tour de France after a bunch sprint. BMC Racing's Greg van Avermaet retained the leader's yellow jersey. Jeffrey Boycott's family have announced that the former England opener is recovering from quadruple open-heart bypass surgery.
5 Live Sports.
The FIFA World Cup Russia.
Lingard plays it into the back post. Dele Alli heads it in. It's 2-0 to England. The final whistle goes. England are there in the semi-final of the World Cup.
Tomorrow, England play their first World Cup semi-final in 28 years. The build-up starts in 5 Live Breakfast from 6, ahead of full live commentary of England versus Croatia at 7 p.m.
Could football really be coming home?
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
From BBC 5 Live, this is the World Cup Daily Podcast.
Hello, welcome back to 5 Live Sport, live from Red Square in Moscow. In St. Petersburg this evening, France have beaten Belgium 1-0 in the World Cup semi-final to reach the final on Sunday. A 4 o'clock kickoff, but will it be Croatia or will it be England joining them on Sunday afternoon? Pat Nevin, you're in the stadium in St. Petersburg. 1-0 might sound like a fairly dull, straightforward game, but there was lots to pick apart in that match between France and Belgium.
Yeah, it was intriguing, right from the start. I thought the French started well, and then the Belgians came really into during the first half. And it caused a few problems. I think they confused the French with a lineup that had Fellaini a lot further forward than was expected beforehand. But when they got their head around it, it slowly but surely was strangled by the French side, and they looked more dangerous. And when they scored that goal just after half-time, simple one, neat cross in from a corner kick, lots of pace on it, headed by Ntiti at the front post. It was huff and puff after that by the Belgians. And if Belgium were going to win this game, like they were going to win the last game against Brazil, all the players had to be close to 100%. They weren't. A lot of them were a good distance below that, including Lukaku, who looked a shadow of the player he was against the Brazilians. There are a number of reasons for that. It could have been the fact that he's playing against better centre-backs. It could have been the fact that he took too much out of himself in the competition so far. But when they weren't at their best, you looked at the French side, and with about 20-25 minutes to go, well, I don't know about others, some Frenchmen around me, but I wasn't even slightly worried about the French.
Let's speak to Julien Laurent, the French football journalist who is inside the stadium alongside Pat. How would you describe that France performance?
It was a bit nerve-wracking towards the end, just to answer what Pat just said, but I thought it was controlled. I think in the first half, Eden Hazard caused a few problems on the left-hand side against Benjamin Pavard, and it's one of the matchups that we identified before the game. Pavard is a young defender, he's never played at that level before, and that was always going to be difficult for him to face Hazard. And then suddenly Belgium in the second half stopped playing on that side, which obviously was very good for France. But I think once they dealt a bit better with Hazard on the left-hand side and our right-hand side, I think they were always under control. I think Mbappe at times showed again some magic, the magic that he had in his feet, some of the touches, that ball through for Pavard again, with that forced Courtois with a great save, and then in the second half the one for Giroud, especially on the turn, was just sensational. And I think France could have scored easily 2 or 3. I think maybe Belgium could have had one with that Alderweireld shot in the first half, and Lloris again with a huge save like he did against Uruguay on the Caceres header, like he did against Australia in the first game as well, coming really strong in those key moments. But yeah, I thought it was a controlled and quite mature performance once again.
Dion Dublin is alongside me here in the Red Square studio. Dion, what would England be thinking watching that match?
Oh dear, France are quite good, aren't they? They're getting better. They're maturing into this competition. All their players, and I think Pat sort of touched on it there, but all their players, Matuidi played well. Griezmann had a part in the show. Giroud did a job, didn't score, but he did his job as a centre forward. Pogba outstanding. Kante a nuisance. Mbappe, and so that's all you ask. If your big players turn up on the day of a big game, you've got a great chance of having a good team performance. Pat said it already. Belgium were okay. They weren't as good as they could have been. But when you get to a semi-final of the World Cup, you have to play well as a team. Belgium didn't, and I didn't know where a goal was going to come from for Belgium. Lukaku maybe, but he didn't put himself into a position to score, and nobody else did either. There was one shot from Witsel, and that was it.
Pat, you said before the game that when you watch France, you pretty much know who's going to start from them, and you know pretty much how they're going to line up. Even with that level of predictability,
So that's it then. Belgium are knocked out. France will face rather Croatia or England tomorrow. Goodbye.